Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're all ready to continue. We will be, where were we? Right, I even put it in the title and I'm not remembering. We're doing the DLC today, right? Okay, let's dive right in. Tenwin, hello, hello. Glad to see you, glad to see you. Sorry, brain blanked there for a second. Let me make sure here. Yep, confront the voices of Nerat, speak with Graven Ash, speak with Graven Ash, travel to the Bastard City. Oh, right. I guess we can keep doing the DLC, and Tunon will understand. We'll just hold off on revisiting Tunon. Oh. Speed the game back up, please. Thank you very much. Climb down the rope. Alright, the chorus is gone. You better be on the up and up. You don't exactly work quiet, do you? I suppose the ruckus means it's all taken care of, though. Clean and tidy? They're no longer a problem. He takes a deep breath and exhales. That's a relief and a half. There were always the chance we'd get stuck out here, that the mountains would move again, or Kairos forbid, Cairn would come back to finish what he started. Oh, you don't have to worry about that one, trust me. Nagaratap, welcome, welcome, dude. Good to see you. Hope your other Pillars of Eternity runs have been treating you well. So Wag, one of our specialists, he cooked up us an alchemical compound called Ocean's Fire. Burns as fast and hot as a Wrathcaster spell. Set correctly, it'll clear the cave entrance out in an instant, and if it gets bumped wrong, say by an idiot chorus construct, we all meet the void well charred. Give me the Ocean Fire, I'll see to the cave entrance. Ursira feels profound relief, and she accompanies it with a nod. Thank you. Be extraordinarily careful with it. You don't want to be within 20 paces when the paste meets the air. Hunker down somewhere behind some rubble on top, then lob it at the cave entrance. She reaches into one of the crates and pulls forth an unpainted clay pot. She passes it to you with extreme gentleness, and you note that its lid is sealed with a thick ring of melted wax. Oh, and don't miss. It occurred to me... Ah, yes. Can't believe I forgot about that. If we're going to have her be on hand as well, we're going to want some additional recovery time. Oh. Piercing. That could be useful. Vigil of Volley. Nah, we'll do that one. Oh, and then we can make it bounce. That would actually be useful, but intensity is actually probably what we want right now. There we go. That way she's got some additional spells on her. Ooh, Marvel Rivals came out yesterday. Experience open game, look through each hero and their skins, MVP animation, check the season pass, check the store, test one game, turn up and install. Yeah, I will admit I don't have any patience for a lot of those kind of style of games. One direction or the other, where you spend multiple minutes fighting the same people over and over again with extremely slow gain cosmetic rewards and a season pass or similar. Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of things right now. I wasn't even aware Marvel's was doing a new, oh no, I was aware of Marvel's existence, but that's just because I've seen all the people making jokes about how the second people can rip those models out of the game, well, they're going to do to them what they did to the Overwatch characters, which is copious amounts of Rule 34. Given that they said to throw it, I'm half believing that this is... Okay, it did animate us moving away. For a second, I thought it was going to be a case... Venom is 18 inches. I mean, Venom's a symbiote. Bold of you to assume he only goes to 18. Marvel should be grateful for the Rule 34. I mean, yes, but they're corporate people, Jello. No, but you know they're not. I saw the Ocean's Fire from here, like a spire of living flame. Felt it, too. I imagine it was something like that when Kairos struck down the Vellum Citadel. Anyway, thanks. We've got to get these supplies together and move them inside, but you go ahead. Just, don't tell them I sent you or anything. Who is them, and how will they know I'm not hostile? She rummages through one of the barrels and hands you a soft, cool package tied off in twine. The beasts that stand guard should let you pass if you give them this. Okay, this place is getting weirder and weirder by the second. When SMT released the collector's edition, they released a Venom statue that advertises 18 inches of Venom. Okay, that's a good one. I do think if it's the models I'm thinking of, I did watch Lily Goth, also known as Kinky Mation, do her art review of the character designs. She's a Rule 34 artist who also does VTubing. And she was actually quite positive on the overall thing.
A humming in the walls.
Ooh, sparkly. What the? Luminescent mushrooms dot the cavern's floor, emitting a disquieting glow without providing much in the way of illumination. Oh, that's that Azralith stuff, isn't it? Yeah, the stone formation quietly hums a slow modulating melody.
You hear this too, right?
Oh.
It feels like he left it for me. A message.
Who? Who?
Cairn, obviously. You think this magic rock just made itself?
And a message.
There's some meaning in the music, I think. I don't understand it. But maybe there's more deeper in. Let's go.
Siren pulls a crystal from the formation, slipping it amongst her belongings. It slides free without effort. Okay, I see why you suggested I bring Siren for this. Oh, hi. Oh, you're a red beastman. Okay, that's an interesting one. The shadow shifts before you in a hulking mass of darkness. As they step closer, the pale luminescence of the cave fungi highlights blunt, bony features. Lips curl back over yellow fangs and violet gums, and sinewy muscle tighten as the beast's clawed fingers spread open. The Woundkin. Interesting. Another human. The largest of the figures steps forward, revealing herself as a heavily muscled beast woman covered in a rust-colored fur. Her yellow gaze narrows intensely upon you, nostrils flaring to drink in your scent. Does new human offer man flesh to Hillstrider's pack? Crying leatherclads offer more bone than meat. Short meals for beast woman. You look hungry. The beast woman's nostrils twitch, and she steps forward cautiously, attention dipping to the offered hunk of meat. Smells fresh enough. It's yours. You let us through. She plucks the slab from your hand and inhales deeply of its scent, then licks it with her broad tongue. She steps to the side, and her packmates clear a path. Go through before Hillstrider changes mind. Interesting. What is all this? Water and beer. And rain. Okay, so where the fuck does this lead? Oh, they've got a whole little settlement here in here, don't they? Oh.
People hold up here in the old walls? Do they think the Bane kinder than the chorus?
I mean, as long as you can clear out the Bane, you're probably fine. The question, of course, is, can you clear out the Bane? Oh, bronze armor. Okay. Okay, so these are the bastards. These are all the same fact. Interesting that the beast people are a separate faction. Fatebinder, good day to you. The young man greets you with a smile as distant shouts reverberate through the area, steadily growing in volume. As you might have observed, your presence comes as a bit of a surprise. It's an unexpected pleasure, I mean, to receive an esteemed servant of the court. He bows stiffly, revealing a row of multi-shaped quills along his back. I am Scribe Mel of the Vellum Citadel, formerly, I suppose I should say. You aren't here to... Oh, gods, Kairos doesn't have another edict in store for us, does he? He taps a long quill against his thigh, its feather plume fluttering nervously in return. I figured that if that was the case, I'd be waist-deep in lava as we speak, the sage concludes with a half-hearted chuckle that tapers into terrified silence. Wonder how edicts worked underground. Probably depends on how the edict's worded. What is this place? I struggle with the definition myself, truthfully. We call it the Bastard's Wound, or just the Wound for short. It's a refuge, a haven for folks displaced from the war and poor decision-making. Everyone that's here discovered this place by chance, but remains by choice. The decor is unorthodox, to be sure, but it does come with the benefit of extreme seclusion. Not that we object to the court's presence, or that of the Archons, we simply thought it best to unburden you all of the weight of governance. I know you have better things to do than check up on us. We're fine, really, everything is fine. Well, normally, in real life, I'd be very much inclined to agree with you. Better out of sight and out of mind. In this universe, not so much. And secondly, you saying it like that has me very suspicious that things are most assuredly not fucking fine. You look past the scribe, taking notes of the details in the cavernous area. Giant stone walls flank the space and ascend to the open sky, seemingly shorn apart from one another. Thunderous waterfalls cascade down, nearly ringing the stone-tinged islands that comprise the settlement. Though covered by damp moss and the man-made tents, the stone architecture here is unmistakably as part of the old walls. What is all the commotion about? Well, visitors are always cause for alarm. Moreover, you aren't just any outsider, you're the Fatebinder. To many, it's as if Tunon himself just strolled in. Your dispensation of justice could have profound ramifications for a little-known and technically hidden settlement such as ours. Some of the refugees are not clear about your intentions, and no doubt they have little to fear, correct? You need only fear a Fatebinder if you have done something against the laws of Kairos, such as, say, violating the laws regarding entry into the old walls. Of course, I can see why things might appear that way, he stammers, running his hands clumsily over the scrolls along his bandolier. He snatches one from its loops and taps it nervously. If you look at this drawing of the area, we are, by way of several fathoms, below the old walls you see rising up. Who's to say if we're in the walls or just underground? I mean, other than a Fatebinder, of course. I merely mean to suggest that there's some potential ambiguity as to whether we've really done anything wrong. Sketched upon the crumpled parchment is a cross-section of what appears to be old walls running through the mountainous region of the Bastard Tier. If this map is accurate, these old walls run almost entirely under the mountains. The upper reaches of these old walls are just a few stories above the valley floor. Judging from the map, the old walls slope upward as it travels north, and slopes downward as it travels south. I am not here to condemn this settlement. Yet. Thank you, Fatebinder. I heard that you gave warning to the sages of the Citadel before the edict came. I'm glad to see that your mercy extends to us as well. Things here are complicated. I will merely say that this is an unusual place and its legal standing somewhat unclear. We would never knowingly violate Kairos' law, of course. We appreciate your generosity, Fatebinder. I hope that you will come to appreciate the wound in time. No doubt you have many questions. I shall do my best to acquaint you with this outpost. Is there anything I can help you with? I have questions about the wound and your history. Analysis and creation of historical documents was one of my chief areas of focus at the Citadel. I have enough time to acquaint myself with the particulars of this place, so I suppose I'm the person to ask. What would you like to know? How did you all get down here? The place was discovered 3 years ago by braver and more adventurous souls than Master Lexam and I. We're relative newcomers, going on about a year at this point. When Cairn smashed Rostrum Vorus's manor, his supporters fled into the cracked mountainside and discovered this place. At the time, life here with the Bane sounded better than life with the Archons. From there, the settlement grew in spurts. We are far off the beaten path, so visitors are rare, but the few we've gotten here have decided to make this place home. Not every encounter with the outside has been positive. When a couple of the disfavored found us, things got ugly fast, but the bloodshed was limited and the survivors joined us in the end, if a bit reluctantly. What do you know about this place? It is remarkable, is it not? He stretches his arms apart, looking around for emphasis. We have no idea how old this corner of the old walls appears to be, but the tunnel leading to it came into being a few years ago. Cairn's fury was unleashed in a battle on the topside, and whatever powers he used split under the mountain and fractured this portion. He points upward past the crashing waterfalls and towards the exposed sky far above. The divided walls flare outward, a giant maw stretching towards the firmament. Cracked the whole damn old walls in half, and now sunlight and water are here for the first time in, well, ever. Makes me wonder if the other old walls are like this, hidden from view to those of us just walking on the surface. How do you survive in this place? What do you eat? Oh, we get enough sunlight to cultivate a small number of crops on the upper levels, cabbage, nashroot, radishes, mushrooms as well. The biggest challenge is the drinking water, actually, despite appearances. He leans forward while speaking, his tone energetic. It is a rather interesting phenomenon. Something in the old walls environment leaches into the water and corrupts it, producing a most curious disease in the afflicted. There is no fever or chills, bleeding or vomiting or what have you, but you will waste away over time, as if one was starving. Tidecaster Wagstaff devised a method to magically treat the water, rendering it safe to consume and with curative properties for those already sick. This solution is a bit slow at making large amounts, but fortunately Gaspos constructed some stone aquifers. Water poured into these aquifers will drain a few hours later and emerge purified. Between their contributions, we are able to make the wound a proper home, as long as the two keep their squabbling to a bare minimum. And the Banes? He nods, absent-mindedly rubbing the dried ink between his fingers. Yes, of course, we have a system for that. You've met our greeting party in the caves, I take it. Incidentally, what happened to... He shakes his head, dismissing the... No, it doesn't matter. The point is that we have a contingent of beastmen with us, and we've adapted exceedingly well to the old walls and show little fear of such abominations. They've been perfectly eager to dig their claws into any that come our way. It's honestly surprising that even works, but who am I to argue? At any rate, they keep our entry points to the wound clear and seem content to keep doing so. In fact, I dare say some of them have come to love hunting the Bane. Or they just have a death wish, and that's why they volunteer for patrol day after day. What do you do here? What don't I do? Someone has to inventory supplies, take census, ledger trades. It's all pretty unexciting, I assure you. I happen to like playing steward. Balancing numbers is easy for me. I have far more responsibilities than I ever did as a scribe of the Citadel. Aren't you a bit young for a sage? If I were a tenured sage, that may be true, but I am still just an apprentice. Many in the guild scribe for decades before attaining any level of rank. As the school is no more, I suppose that I'll never be officially counted amongst their ranks, but I'm making my contributions to knowledge in my own ways. My master thinks similarly, though I think the loss of the school means more to her. I had a few years to know the other sages, she had several decades. Where is your master? Master Lixem is sadly not amongst us. She vanished into the lower levels a few days ago. She wasn't herself. He furrows his brow, visibly distressed. Life here is rather complicated, and the old walls bless us with numerous mysteries. One of those is an unending sleeplessness, an affliction that eventually drove her mad. What do you do as the town steward? It's not anything fascinating. I just help with the sorts of practical affairs that help keep the ruin running. Tracking inventory, coordinating supply runs, determining our resource deficiencies, logging births, deaths, organizing events, all the sort of busy work. It's not intellectually demanding work, but I'm happy to do it. Who is in charge here? Unfortunately, that's a matter of debate at the moment. For a while, two men in particular led this settlement, Tidecaster Wagstaff, who's been here the longest, and Forge-bound Master Jaspos. They made it possible to survive here, but rarely see things eye to eye. Were the conditions here not so fragile, I'm certain they would have come to blows ages ago. There was also a beast woman, known as Reef Talon. Quite a remarkable creature, actually. She held this place together and kept tempers at bay until fairly recently. She was as worthy a leader as we've actually had in the wound, and it is a shame that she's no longer with us. The bickering between Jaspos and Wagstaff continues unabated. Tell me about Jaspos. You're going to want to look for a broad-shouldered man with a very booming voice. He's almost always taking out his frustration on some poor rock or boulder by his forge. He points northwest, towards a plume of smoke rising above the surrounding walls. Jaspos and his two apprentices arrived sometime after Wagstaff. I think we worried he'd be a true loyalist and demand that we surrender to Kairos, but he's taken a shine to this place and is trying to create his own little corona of Taratus. I think he likes the seclusion and being surrounded by a variety of rock types. He built most of the bridges you see here, some cisterns to filter water. He's a one-man work crew, and he knows it, unfortunately. He has more than a few supporters, particularly since he created those purifying aquifers. The water here causes illness, and without his help, most of us would not have enough clean water to drink. Tell me more of this Wagstaff. He chuckles, his lips pressed together in a tight, knowing smile. Very prickly old fellow, Wagstaff. One of the last tidecasters in the tiers, I believe. His eyes widen in sudden realization. His kind were enemies to Kairos true, but I'm certain he has no personal designs against the Overlord Fateminder. He is not one for pleasantries or charisma of any sort. He is a master of his craft. He was the first to treat the toxic waters in these old walls, and to date, it's the only cure that works. The wound would be in bad shape without him. Give him some time, and you might see beyond the gruff exterior. Just know that he prefers the solitude of his pool, so don't head over there unless you're willing to suffer it. There was a beast woman in charge as well. That is quite a bit unusual. Indeed, but Reef Talon was a most unusual beast. So much more focused, patient, and sensible than pretty much any other beast I've ever encountered. Apologies. Reef Talon was able to organize the beasts and the humans into effective patrols to keep back the Bane. With her in charge of the defenses, our casualties dropped. No Bane ever slipped into the common area, and disputes between the beasts all but disappeared. At a certain point, it seemed foolish not to have her in charge. We've had a few beastmen wander into our refuge, and I don't know how or why, but life here changes them. I don't know if it's the Bane, something in the water, something about the magics of this place. After a span or two living with us, most beastmen just seem to become a bit more civilized, relaxed. Maybe speak to some of them. Perhaps you'll agree. Interesting. I wonder if the magic of the old walls causes the... Because Kills in Shadow made an interesting comment where she said that beast people were much like humans once. I have to wonder if it also is the other way around, where presence to the old walls causes beast people to slowly, I don't know, mutate and become closer to humans or something. Or reshape part of their mental state or something like that. Oh. I'm beginning to think I need to start investing in tea and honey because my throat is still feeling a little bit sore, but that's partly my fault. I got into a shouting match earlier this week for no bloody reason, and certainly does not help one's throat when it's scratchy. What happened to Reef Talon? Reef Talon was our bulwark against not only the Bane, but death itself. She had a mystic gift, or so we thought. Her touch brought everyone, the wounded, the sick, the dying, back from the edge, but it changed them. The curse wasn't noticeable at first, but seemingly without fail, those healed would slowly but surely stop sleeping. It was a minor malady at first, but a cumulative one. As days and weeks go by, they begin to lose themselves. Depression, malaise, paranoia, unending unto itself. My master Lexem was treated by Reef Talon, and in her case, she lost the ability to work magic. Between this and some disputes about whether it's proper for a beast woman to lead humans resulted in Reef Talon leaving the wound, disappearing into the depths of the old walls, and, well, many of the Sleepless, as they became known, followed. The Sleepless that left haven't returned, so it's hard to be optimistic about any of this. Or ice cream or a milkshake. I am trying to lose weight, Tenwin, so I try to keep that to a minimum. There is a place in the town that I'm in right now that is pretty good on milkshakes, though. That is a strange power. I can't say I've ever heard of a beastman mystic that does such things. I regret not being a better student of their magics, but I concur it is most unusual. What's stranger still is that Reef Talon did not boast of being a mystic, and beasts are nothing if not boastful. I have a hypothesis that she slew so many Banes, their sickly powers may have soaked into her very touch. She's potentially becoming a Beastman Archon. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. That's my guess right now. Reef Talon was on her way to becoming an Archon of some sort and possessing natural magical abilities, but she didn't fully understand them. So she was probably thinking it was a healing ability, but it probably wasn't. I'll bet you anything. He shrugs, letting out a long sigh. But that's just speculation. All I know for sure is scores of lives were inadvertently ruined by her healing gift, and folks here have some complicated feelings towards Reef Talon. Yeah, but it is Friday. My usual day for treats is Saturday. I usually go out to eat on Saturdays. Other days, I try to keep my diet pretty strict. He pauses in thought, nervously rolling a quill between his fingers. None have recovered, unfortunately. The end result appears to be inevitable. Still, I can't help but wonder if Reef Talon could have corrected this. It's a shame. You should know, Fatebinder, that there are no small number of people who have been treated by Reef Talon but haven't fully lost their grip on things. Jaspos' apprentice Isley, for one. It is, though, just a matter of time until the worst sets in. I received a message from a Sage L that directed me here. I assume that's your Master Lexarm that you mentioned. Sage L? Yes, that could only mean Lexep. She contacted you. If I may, in regards to what? Show him the missive. The sage holds the parchment of all of 3 seconds before nodding slowly. That is her handwriting, no doubt about it. It's been a while since she penned her own missives. As I said, she is sadly no longer amongst us. She vanished into the lower levels some time ago, and she definitively was not herself. Yeah, and he's going over the sleeplessness again. Alright, that's all from him. Very well, Fatebinder. If you haven't done so, please speak with Jaspos or Wagstaff. The wound doesn't speak with a single voice, but those two come close to such a thing. Oh, a merchant. Oh, did you come for... You might want to speak to Master Jaspos. He's northeast of here in the forge. Okay, so they don't want to talk to me yet. Ooh, iron. Oh, okay, okay. Denizen domicile, various pieces of stuff, bastard wound farm. Oh wow, there's a lot. Jaspos, master of, what does that say? Napping. And insipid moniker. And Wagstaff is down there. Okay. Oh yeah, those are the doors, aren't they? Kind of weird seeing them used as a domicile. But yeah, if the old walls have such an effect on things and seem to act as magical conduits of some kind, their mere presence could explain some things. Or rather, people's presence near them could explain a lot. Especially saying that the water that flows over the ruins is tainted with something. Village at the start of Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Yeah, the mongrels. Okay.
You know, I was just thinking about how what this place really needed was a beastmen colony, because someone would absolutely think that. Really, they would.
Some supplies, some more potions,
I can't.
more supplies, and some iron armor. Okay. And that takes us up to the... We're going to finish this section over here, and then we'll go up there and see what it says. While they wouldn't weather a strong gale, these tents seem stable enough to offer some privacy to the denizens of the wound. Cots, bedrolls, and woolen blankets lie within. Sirid, sweetie, please don't make the beastmen angry. Yeah, please don't. The beastmen will not forge bound in this hole. Surely they cannot outfit the Legion from here. Sirid, the beastmen are not going to have the appreciation of your sarcasm that most of us do. They're really not. More gems. Like the forge-bound enclave at Lithian's Crossing, it seems these craftsmen have hewn and set the stones of the old walls into an admirable hearth. Who the fuck are you? Oh, a scout. Okay. I feel like you're in very conspicuously bright clothing for being a scout. Okay, all these people are named, but I want to talk to the forge master first. A heavily muscled man stands next to a mixed pile of broken floor tiles and smashed boulders, head bent in focus, sledgehammer gripped tightly in both hands. Without breaking his gaze, he calmly extends an arm out as you approach, signaling for you to wait. In one smooth motion, he whirls the sledgehammer in a precise arc, effortlessly, speak English, splitting a large green-gray boulder in two. He smiles and lets out a pleased chuckle before turning to greet you. Brown Bear, welcome back, and I'm sorry to hear that you're pissed off. What's going on, man? Fatebinder. That explains the ruckus. His voice is deep, a confident baritone that easily carries through the open air. Forgive my rudeness. Masters of the craft rarely break focus if we can help it. Old habit. Okay, so he's his own... Okay, yeah, so as the leader of the community, he has his own renown and wrath ranking. He smiles broadly, motioning you to come forward. Your arrival is unexpected, but my forge is always open to servants of the court. I am Jaspos, master of napping, and this settlement is called the Bastard's Wound. I expect you're looking for its leader. No doubt someone pointed you in my direction. 20 minutes to a barber appointment. The barber didn't pick up his phone to buzz me into the suite. Oh, that's fucking... Yeah, that's a bit of a piece of shit. Master of napping, not napping. I know, but there's no pronunciation difference, Tenwin. And yes, I know what napping with a K is. It's the art of working stones into tools using other stones often. It's a largely lost art form amongst pretty much everybody, aside from a few anthropologists that I've known. I did once take a short course on napping. We actually napped a obsidian arrowhead, which was quite cool. Obsidian is always such a interesting material. I love when obsidian gets used in fantasy settings for, like, weapons and stuff. Just because it's all... Like, you could just imagine enchanting obsidian so that it doesn't break as easily, and it would be a perfect, like, enchanted weapon. Oh. Technically against the law, settlement and the legality of this place needs to be determined. Yeah, the legality of this place must be determined by a Fatebinder. Then we're lucky to have you here. I can assure you that I would never do or advise anything against the works of Kairos' will. The wound is a complicated place. Many came before me, and I've done my part to steer them correctly. As I'm sure you know, that's not always an easy task. What happened so far? We gained entrance to the DLC town, the Bastard's Wound. You haven't really missed much. They've given us the basic rundown of the local politics. Apparently the water is not safe to drink, and they used to have a beast woman leader who I am running on the assumption was starting to begin the transformation into an Archon, because she seemed to express some very strange magical abilities that nobody could explain. There's another man here that unfortunately holds some sway. Wagstaff, a tidecaster. Possibly the last tidecaster from what I understand. Crosses his arms, his muscles tensing reflexively. Did they say what the abilities were? Apparently she had a healing touch that could heal just about any injury, but it caused the person to stop being able to sleep. Which obviously resulted in some pretty bad situations as people lost their fucking minds from being unable to sleep. He practically founded this place years ago. Truth be told, he's the one responsible for its creation, legal or no. We don't always see eye to eye, but I did trust that his decision was respectful of the Overlord's will. A dull crash interrupts the exchange. A forge helper, hands still trembling, hastily attempts to gather up the pieces of a dropped bowl. Nearby, several onlookers have gathered to observe the meeting and whisper nervously amongst themselves. Forgive them, Fatebinder. They're understandably anxious. As you know, men and women live and die by your words. These people here, all of us in fact, are wondering what your intentions are for this settlement. See, I like this, but the provide material support always makes me think that it's going to come across as, oh, I want a bribe, and my character's been very clear on not doing that. But we'll give it a shot. The settlement stretches the interpretation of the laws. To justify its existence, I would ask that the wound provide additional support for the court. Oh. Yeah, that was a bribe. God damn it. Whatever. Well, whatever. We're just gonna move on. We aren't rich in material wealth, but the wound has incredible potential. Between the ruins above and the depths below, there are treasures to mine that we can deliver. It will take some effort, but with your assistance, we can deliver on that promise. On that note, if you have the time, I have a matter that could benefit from your expertise. Okay, that's not English, Brown Bear, and the only part of that word that I recognize is Panzer, so I don't know what this has to do with tanks. You may ask, but I make no promises. We don't have the luxury of trading with the topside. It would attract the wrong kind of attention. We craft what we need. In my case, I can make a wide variety of tools, but I can't make everything. When we were building the forges at Lethian's Crossing, I had access to some of the finest chisels, tapers, and abrasives. I carried only my travel kit with me when I found myself here in the wound. I've been able to craft a few replacements, but to my chagrin, I haven't recaptured the craftsmanship. The napping tools needed are rather specialized, and I lose sleep knowing I can't replace anything I break. Since I've been missing, I imagine my tools were appropriated by my colleagues in Lethian's Crossing. Lahara will no doubt know of their whereabouts. With my old tools, I could stay on top of the work that's needed to keep this place running. I will speak with Lahara. Sure, this will be a simple matter for you, Fatebinder. Thank you for your assistance. Name for the meth used by the Germans in World War II? Ah, okay. I mean, I guess that's one way to put it, but it's not that they didn't become tired, it's that they literally could not sleep. And eventually, of course, if you know anything about human physiology, our brains don't do so well after about the 36-hour mark without sleep. What do you do here as one of the leaders of this settlement? I don't look the part, I know. Most of my guild huddle in the heat of the forges and stick to themselves. Here I think of my forge more as a hearth. Everyone is invited to share in its warmth. In a practiced motion, he unfastens a rag looped around his belt, wiping off trace amounts of sweat from his already spotless brow. Perhaps that's better. Obviously, I work the forge. In a place like this, that means everything. Those bridges, my handiwork. The knives and weapons you see people carrying, my forge. The nails holding our containers together, keeping our shelters upright, mine as well. But most importantly, I created these stone sieves to clean the water. He pats one of the open stone receptacles, pride evident in his voices. First of their kind, and none too soon. When I came here, many were sick from the withering rot. The disease is in the water, and it's a terrible way to go. But these sieves changed things. See, if I had to guess, the disease kind of sounds similar to malaria or cholera, but that involves, or dysentery rather, that involves, diarrhea and losing water and wasting away through that. But the way they described it is just that the person seems to just start wasting away, literally, almost in a magical sense. So it makes me wonder what the hell is in the water. How do these things work? Trade secret, I'm afraid. He pauses for dramatic except for the members of the court. It's a matter of using the right combination of enchanted stones, pulverized charcoal, and a few precious stones in a precise arrangement. These materials act as a sieve in the containers. People are dumping prime upriver. Oh, God. Please, no. He points towards the base of one of them, drawing your attention to water dripping out of a small opening and collecting into a bowl beneath it. Anything that comes out of there is free of the disease. Now, this place isn't exactly bustling with precious stones, so I had to devise a substitute. Beastman claws and teeth, when properly prepared, have the same properties that I need. Since they regrow over time, I've been able to collect donations from the many warriors who are here. I do prefer using stone whenever possible, though. What exactly does a master of napping do? Ah, I shall tell you. He places a hand upon his belt and runs his finger across the many hammers, chisels, and picks draped across his waist, stopping at a simple stone hammer. Masters of napping focus on the fundamentals of all forge work. Before you can make bronze and iron, you must heat fire in a controlled space. You need a stone forge. He grips his belt firmly, puffing his chest slightly as he speaks. Give me a few days and I'll take a pile of rocks and fashion proper stone hammers and tools. Give me a few weeks and I can use those tools to build a worthy forge. And with that forge, I can create anything that you'll ever need. Stonework is the purest form of our craft. Civilization could be reduced to ashes, and a master of napping would be the one to reforge it. He's got a point. Especially at this point, like, in terms of time scale, people forget how long the Bronze Age lasted. And how right before that, we largely had nothing but stone and copper tools for the most part. Tell me about the Tidecaster, Wagstaff. You should know that Wagstaff and I are not on the best of terms. He's old, set in his ways. I've tried, believe me. I've reached out. I've invited him to share my fire, to talk like men. But he's the sort that prefers his own company and ideas. He doesn't seem to care about people the way I do. In fact, he views us as irritants one must endure. He sighs loudly, shaking his head with an exacerbated smile. He does help the wound, I'll grant him that. Cleansing water with his magic. His methods are different than mine, slower. He thinks his contributions are more valuable since they can combat disease. A valuable tool, to be certain. But without the volume of water produced from my stone sieves, this settlement would be dead. Wagstaff, I bet that name's ironic. Could be. I mean, Ebb's name is Ebb, so it might just be that all of the Tidecasters have water-related names that are a bit off. In the end, he just refuses to accept that his role has changed. He helped the wound get its bearing years ago. But being the first does not make one qualified to lead. He hates that people have responded to me, and he's been blinded by that. What was all of this that I've heard about Reef Talon? He holds a bowl of crushed rock aloft, squinting to examine its contents as he speaks. Oh, so you've heard. It's unfortunate what happened to her. Reef Talon arrived a year after I did. Massive creature, one of the largest beast women I've ever seen. She never spoke of her past, but we knew she was in flight when she stumbled upon the wound with her cubs. He pulls a fragment out of a bowl, running it slowly between his fingers. But yeah, the Bronze Age lasted 2,000 years. Yeah, and longer in some places, don't forget. It also depends on if you define the early Copper period as belonging to the Bronze Age, since it didn't take us that long to go from copper to bronze. It was really just a matter of finding tin, which is way too fucking uncommon in parts of the world that became the centers of Bronze Age civilizations. Whatever she fled from, it didn't stop her from devouring the Bane, and she was damn good at it. Good enough to lead the Beastmen here, but Reef Talon had something else far more important. She could heal others just by touching them. Doesn't matter if you've been raked by the Bane or fell on your own damn sword. She could close up your wounds and send you on your way like nothing ever happened. That is no ordinary magic. How did she do this? I honestly don't think she knew herself. She was no student of her craft, not even using Beastmen mystics as a standard. What I do here, that's no accident. It's years of study, meticulous perfection. Reef Talon just acted on instinct. And honestly, that didn't work to anybody's beliefs. With a dissatisfied shake of the head, he flicks the unwanted chip into the water. Sometimes we're better off without miracles. Those Reef Talon healed slowly became sick. It became impossible for them to sleep, even when exhausted. And the relentless waking drove them mad. The affliction takes a while to fully take hold, but the end result was always the same. Even worse, those bestowed with the magic slowly lose their gifts. He looks towards the forge, a pained expression visible on his face. Now they're just known as the Sleepless. All their life and vitality robbed and spent. It's a terrible end, Fatebinder. Reef Talon couldn't face her mistakes, so she fled into the old walls like a coward. He circles around the platform, speaking as much to passerbys as you, and to think that many here saw her as a leader. What leader runs in the face of adversity? Those of us that remain, we're the ones who hold this place up. I toil every day to keep the fires of my forge running, and the people can see who they can truly rely upon. Nearby onlookers shout and pump their fists in support, eliciting a raised fist from the forge-bound master in return. Okay, yeah, I'm kind of getting this guy's vibe. I do believe he genuinely wants to help, and he genuinely wants to do this. but he also really wants the acknowledgement and recognition of being the leader. If Archons cast magic through instinct and beastmen have stronger instincts than humans, what could that mean for their powers? Yeah, that could be the implication here. As I said, I'm running on the theory that she was either awakening to being an Archon or she has some other kind of unique magical ability. Getting some Ulfric Stormcloak vibes? A little, a little. I would actually go so far. To be fair, I'm usually a little more sympathetic to Ulfric. I'm willing to... It's definitely a case of I think Ulfric's making the wrong decisions, but I don't fault his... I don't fault the reasons why. Because a lot of people look at Ulfric and they say, oh, he's just power hungry. It's like, no, when Ulfric says, I don't want to be king, but if the moot elects me, I'll take it, I genuinely think he's being sincere. It's just that people like Ulfric, even if they are well-meaning, because I am open to the interpretation that he's not, but I think he is, are blind to the effect that they have on others. Like, again, to use Ulfric as an example, they can provide enough support and enough charisma that even if they say, oh, I don't want to do that, oh, I know the perfect example. It's like that scene from The Life of Brian, Monty Python. I am not the Messiah. Look at him. He has the humility to claim he is not the Messiah. Surely he is the Messiah. It's that kind of thing. Or from Doom. Oh, Muad'Dib is so humble that he does not claim to be Muad'Dib. That shit. It's that kind of shit that pops up. Where the legend gets bigger than the man. Let's be fair, the Thalmor are evil. Oh, they absolutely fucking are. Personally, to tangent a little bit, my personal ending for Skyrim should be the Stormcloaks win, the Dragonborn mitigates the worst of Ulfric's followers, as far as the Skyrim for the Nords, let's go full genocide against anybody who isn't a Nord level, and then an alliance is established between the human realms of Hammerfell, Skyrim, High Rock, and Cyrodiil to face the Thalmor together. Basically, the end of an empire, the birth of a federation, essentially. Yes, it's still a very autocratic federation because it's the Elder Scrolls and nobility is still a thing, but hey, it's better than a centrally planned empire that loses the war. Isn't that essentially what happens in ESO? Kind of. If I recall the ESO factions, the one with Hammerfall and High Rock is the Daggerfall Covenant, and that's the Orcs, the Bretons, and the Redguard. Yeah, brain blanked there for a second. They form one faction, and then the second Aldmeri Dominion forms one, and that's between the Wood Elves, the High Elves, and the Khajiit. And then the Ebonheart Pact is the Argonians, the Nords, and the Dark Elves. With the Imperials kind of split between the three as they try to reclaim Cyrodiil from the mad demonic emperor who's taking control of it. I didn't really play much of ESO, and I don't know the full story there. How do you deal with the Bane? In case you haven't noticed, the beastmen with us aren't your common feral savages. Something about this place focuses them. Whether they come as our workers or on their own, they'll all eventually become fixated on the Bane. I've seen some hunched over, guarding our patrols for hours. If any Bane comes through, they savage them instantly. But apart from the Bane, our beastmen aren't violent. It's strange, but welcome. Found the combat being literal equivalent to swinging wiffle bats and bounced off. Yeah, I do remember the combat feeling pretty wiffle batish. He scratches his chin in thought. I have no explanation. We never asked the beastmen to act as our sentries. They just took it on naturally, and we've never complained. We lose the occasional one to injury, but so far the defense has worked. Okay. No, he's wearing disfavored colors. A man clad in the frayed remnants of an Earthshaker uniform focuses intently upon dark stones held in cupped hands. His eyes move from one place to the next, and he hears your footsteps and shifts his gaze to meet yours. Fatebinder, forgive me. Didn't see you there. Jaspos has me performing these exercises to attune my senses to see the shapes hidden within the rock. Flustered, he quickly tugs on the hem of his shirt and straightens his belt. I may not be with the disfavored anymore, but I still recognize the authority of the court. Is there something you need from me? How does an Earthshaker end up in the company of this motley? I'm the odd man out, and I know it. He motions to the purple-gray garments. After Cairn had been declared a criminal, Graven Ash charged us with scouring the Archon's belongings and retracing his path. I was with the group headed to the Gates of Judgment, but we cut west across the mountains and came upon this place. My association to Cairn didn't make me popular with the Legion. Telesophiya was all too eager to remind me that if Cairn's treachery was ever to come to light, all Earthshakers would likely be executed for assumed collusion. You'll forgive me if after stumbling upon the wound and facing insurmountable odds in battle, I Decided to surrender rather than join my hateful companions in death. And what do you think of the wound? I find myself at home here, even if everything about the old wall seems antithetical to life. If the Bane don't kill you, the water will, and without Jaspos, this place wouldn't exist. His eyes move from the churning water to the massive stone walls stretching towards the sky. The old walls have always been invigorating spaces for mages. They're like untapped fonts of energy, and the ancient masonry, inspiring. What was life like for the people that shaped these things? He shrugs, amused. You speak well of Jaspos. He is many things. Teacher, husband, companion. Agrayans gaze turns thoughtful. He's teaching me to connect with the stone in a deeply personal way. Earthshakers manipulate rock, but we don't feel or shape them with the intimacy of the Forgebound. It does occur to me, yeah. Someone who's trained as an Earthshaker and a Forgebound together would probably be a pretty capable geomancer. Capable of not just utilizing stone as a weapon, but shaping it and reforging it as they need to. That'd be an interesting idea. I wonder if that's something that's going to show up. With a despondent sigh, the Forgebound smith unfastens the strap around one of her pauldrons, dropping the metal appendage to the floor, exposing a muscular figure. She quickly traces a sigil with her ungloved hand and touches a hammer dangling from her smock, frowning as it stubbornly remains inert and unsympathetic to her magical entreaties. She glances up at you as you approach. Apologies, Fatebinder. My spellcraft has not been cooperative of late. I take it you're not here to talk about my preoccupations. Anything in particular you'd like to discuss? She offers a forced but polite smile, but cannot maintain it for more than a moment. What do you do here in the forge? I am Jaspos's apprentice. Have been for a few years. He scoops up a small clay pot and spins it between her fingers. Napping wasn't originally my specialty. I had apprenticed under Master Erasma back in Lethian, but a freak accident meant that she'd take her secrets to the ceramic arts to the void. Jaspos had just finished his work and was returning north for more training with the guild, so I joined him. Long story short, we stumbled upon the wound and stayed, and I took on a new trade with Jaspos as my mentor. Do you enjoy working for Jaspos? I do. Jaspos introduced me to napping, and it came easier than pottery, my first craft. If we hadn't fallen in love and married, I might have returned to the north and stayed in Kairos' good graces. She slowly nods as if recalling a long-forgotten memory. What happened earlier with your hammer? I was embarrassing myself again. Seems like the only reliable talent these days. Her cheeks grow flushed as she looks to the ground. I thought I was a not competent napper. Practically a journeyman in skill. Lately, even the simplest preparatory spells vex me. Like that. Sorry that you witnessed. She raises her eyes to meet yours. Something about this place is hollowing me out from the inside. Whatever forge burns inside grows cold. Let's please not speak of it anymore. You're one of the sleepless, aren't you? I think I am. It started when I broke my hand under the mallet. It was a rookie mistake. I asked Reef Talon to heal it, but things have gone sour ever since. I can't sleep. I can't summon a sigil. Worst of all, She lowers her hand down towards her stomach, frowning as she thinks better of saying more. Oh, fuck, she's pregnant. I don't know how much time I have left. I just want to enjoy whatever last moments I have with Jaspos. Well, fuck. That's not going to be good. The forge-bound apprentice stares intently at the amber hide he holds aloft, pounding its surface methodically with a heavy iron mace. The light from the nearby hearth dances across his eyes as you draw closer. The pungent odor of tanning agents thickens in the air. He turns to you wearing a stoic expression. That a problem? You need something? What's your role in this settlement? This is my 3rd year as apprentice under Jaspos. Between that and trying to keep the settlement running, I'm never short on work. He flicks a hunk of animal fat from his belt buckle and glances around the chamber, frowning. Whenever I can, I sleep away to the surface with the woundkin for a good hunt. Caves and hollows aren't meant for the living. Get my materials from the kill, tusk for tools, hide for sturdy work, sturdy clothing. The rest goes to tents, cots. We haven't even gotten down to the meat. The woundkin, they understand better than we do. I suppose technically I'm also a napper. Jaspos has to pass down his art, right? Everyone knows my passion and skill is in the tanning. How has apprenticing for Jaspos been? Difficult. Don't mistake me, I pledge to follow him, my loyalty doesn't waver. I damn well wish we just returned to the north as planned. Instead, I'm stuck inside these old walls, surrounded by Bane and branded as a traitor in the eyes of Kairos. He scrapes a worn knife against the whetstone dangling from his belt. Reminds me of the salvation from pillars. People want a solution to a problem. Don't wait to see the consequences long term. It grows into a big problem. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I know Jaspos was calling out Reef Claw's running away, but quite frankly, it's a beast woman with an unusual magical ability that has just caused dozens of people to lose their minds because they become the Sleepless. If Reef Talon is half as intelligent as they're implying, she knew exactly where this was going, and she got the fuck out of Dodge before they could lynch her. And let's be honest, knowing how the relations are between beast people and normal humans are in this setting, they absolutely would have. Jaspos didn't like my interest in leatherworking. I think he saw it as an insult to his craft. If I favored it so much, I should have sought apprenticeship with the Master of Tanning, Well, consider that another thing I plan to do had we returned north. Truth is, people need my skill with hides and pelts more than my attempts at napping. Every time I clothe or feed someone, they thank Jaspos. He has less and less to say about it. Now that Agian's apprenticing with him, I think he's content to let me dabble in tanning. Okay. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of politicking around here. White Binder ain't no Archon. We'll draw bronze if you force us. I mean, well, good for you that I'm not doing anything stupid, and neither should you. The ones who got away. Wait, what? Okay, well, let's see where that goes. Scrolls and hides. Oh, I'm guessing you have decided not to surrender, considering they have you up by your hands. Oh, dear. We see a lot of parallels with advancement of technology. We see that sort of thing. Society is quick to implement a newfangled invention without knowing what it does. We ate the children last is a good short story about that theme. Well, the very name inspires me not to want to read that story, but I suppose that's the point. A broad-shouldered woman in disfavored raiment dangles against the nearby column, suspended by her wrists. Though still garbed in the iron breastplate of her unit, she is without helmet and appears unusually at ease in her compromised position. A nearby settler engages in a friendly conversation with the disfavored. She peers down at him, listening with dutiful patience. Well, the last lord looked the trout just fine, but it took the whole thing downstream with it when the knot gave. I wrapped the line several times, just like you said. You weren't fibbing, were you, Sophie? What stays your hand, Fatebinder? We must right this injustice immediately. What is this soldier's crime? Her? Oh, it's hardly my place to say, sir. Far be it from me to posture like I'm a leader or a lawbringer. The settler seems amused just to be consulted. Looks like you have company. We'll talk later, Sophia. The settler turns to you, wearing an uncertain smile. Good hunting, then. As the settler turns away, the bound soldier takes note of your approach. Tell us, Sophia, to find you in this cesspool of trespassers. He shakes his head. Worry not. We shall release you from this bondage at once. Who the... Barrack? Is that you? No. Leave me be. I am sworn by duty to slay these fools and sworn by honor to see to their safety. It is easier to have no choice in the matter. You'd rather stay up there. Even if you set me free, I'm too hungry to fight. It's the only thing I have the mind to do. The time will come when I will free myself, and I will grab the opportunity with both hands. She clenches her pale fingers into fists. I'd salute you as an officer of the court, but I am somewhat indisposed at the moment. How did you end up tied to a column? A few span back, after Cairn was officially declared rogue, the general wanted folks looking into what made Cairn lose his sanity, or his loyalty, depending on your outlook. My unit played escort for a team of Earthshakers as they retraced Cairn's journey through the tiers. We were headed for the Gates of Judgment and came across a crevasse, which happened to be... Well, she gestures upward with her head. A middle-aged woman walks by clutching a woven basket, giving Telesophia a wave. The disfavored soldier nods in return. Good day, Usio. She watches the passing settler before returning her attention to you. You seem to be on good terms with the locals. They are a lovely folk, despite all of them being Kairos-mocking scum deserving slow, slow deaths. She attempts a limited expression of a shrug. Where was I? We paused to investigate, only to find this nest, hive, trespassers, living with beasts as equals, all of it an abomination. There was no choice but to put them to the sword. We fought well, but our advance fell apart when the coward Argaean threw up his arms and surrendered. He broke ranks and left us exposed. If I hadn't been knocked senseless, I would have executed him myself. Woke up hoisted to the wall, and I've been here ever since. I'm surprised they left you alive. Graven Ash protects. The General's aegis can sustain us through far more trying circumstances. She maneuvers her shoulders in a dim approximation of a salute. My wrists are mangled, and I am tired and hungry for longer than I can remember. But I am far from death's door. Go much slower, albeit with a much less dark outcome. From the sound of it, they're keeping her comfortable, well, not comfortable, but they're keeping her fit enough that she isn't even really in danger of dying. It's just intensely painful and uncomfortable. The settlers feed me just enough to keep going. She glances down at the dirt-encrusted armor. Indeed, having disfavored prisoners is probably easier because you barely have to feed them because Graven Ash keeps them alive himself. In some ways, that actually makes it easier on the people they fight. I'm sure I smell worse than a beastman dung heap, though. I'm honestly surprised they didn't just execute you. Yeah, it seems like they lost the heart to do that. They even seem to basically be on friendly relations with her. They have, in a sense. The beast woman leader of the local pack ordered I be strung up until dead. I guess she didn't understand the protection of the general, so who's laughing now? Nobody wants to anger the resident Bane hunters, so the beast must have their way. I've had plenty of time to get acquainted with the locals while I perish. It's almost a pity they're all doomed under Kairos. Okay, so that's that area taken care of. We still have this section and the lower section down here. Let's head back down here. Well, actually, hold on. Where does this go?
What do we have here?
Oh, dear God, there's an entire other section up here. Oh, fuck. Oh, more iron. I'll take that. Told me he doesn't eat the mushrooms, he said. The topside mushrooms you don't eat. He said mushrooms all the same, and I said, how could they be the same when these glow? Spiritual water plummets down from the jagged openings in the old walls above. Churned by their passage through the ancient tunnels, a cool mist brushes your face, smelling faintly of dust and decay. They still want you to make a ruling of the legality of their little settlement, don't they? Yeah. I mean, you have to. It's kind of our job. I like pigs. We had a real fat one back at the Apex camp we called Stone Shield. Wonder where... Hold on. Wonder where that pig is now. Probably dead and eaten. Fatebinder. She bows deeply. Welcome to the Wound Farm. The only source of food within the walls. Bet you never imagined anything like this down here. You look like you've got questions in need of answers. You run this place. That I do. Have since shortly after we arrived. May have been a mercenary up top, but down here I've developed into quite the farmhand. She chuckles. I turn the soil, haul up the fertilizer, sing to the plants. I've never grown to love this farm like it's my own child, except unlike a child, the farm feeds me. And this farm feeds your entire community. Nah, near enough. Gwyneth gathers stuff from topside on occasion, but most people get their food from here. We've got a whole host of vegetables, and the mushrooms down here turned out to be tastier than anything grown in shit has any right to be. We've got pigs, too, for the occasional feast day. Fantasy Hydroponics Lab. I think it's just that they've brought down enough... There's enough soil down here to make some use of it. From what he described, there's supposed to be sunlight coming in from the top, but this might be... Either it's nighttime in this world right now, or they just didn't render the light coming down. And if they are growing a lot of mushrooms, well, that's pretty easy. All you need is refuse and, well, mushrooms, and that's all you really need. I keep everything orderly and efficient. One slip up, and we're talking months on tight rations at least. These crops can be real particular about the kind of water they like. Give them too much, too little, the wrong kind. The next thing you know, they're all limp and brown. Shit, now I'm hungry. Is it normal for plants to be so picky about their water? Well, given that it normally falls randomly out of the sky, I doubt it. Every plant is different, sir, but the water situation down here is what's really touchy. Jaspos's filters work for the topside plants, since it's more or less what they're used to. Those stone jugs of his get rid of whatever the hell makes people sick while keeping in the nutrients my veggies need. Give the water to the mushrooms, though, and they stop glowing. Then they shrivel up. No good for anything. No idea why. I guess it's the topside nutrients that just kill them. Wagstaff's water is about as pure as it gets, though, and the mushrooms take to it just fine. Interesting. So there's something still in the water after Wagstaff does his stuff that allows it to work with the mushrooms without harming anyone. But if you use the water filters built by Jaspos, something is still wrong. Yes, I've seen that meme, Tenwin. I love that meme. Especially if you've ever accidentally left a potato anywhere in your house. Yeah, you know exactly what that is. Fucking potatoes are the seeds of an eldritch abomination, but we eat them by the fucking truckload. You also have a name. There's going to be so much talking in this episode, I have a feeling. Howdy, Fatebinder. To be honest, I didn't expect a Corley type like you to show up in this piss hole. Wouldn't have thought you had better things to do than check up on a few wilting greens growing in beast shit. What can I do for you? There's a reason why they became standard in many parts of the world. Oh, absolutely. My favorite story has to be when they were introduced to Prussia. And I think it was Frederick the Great tried to convince people to grow them and nobody wanted to. So he came up with the scheme to make a fancy garden and declare that the potato was a protected royal crop and that no one could have it except for him and his court. And then he intentionally told the guys guarding it to just let people take shit from it so that they, by making it something that was supposed to be exclusive and regal, it would entice people to take one and start growing it themselves. Yeah. Gotta love social engineering stories. I mean, I like it when they have good outcomes like that. Like, yeah, social engineering gets a bad rap nowadays, and for very good reason if you know anything about social media. But it's not like it's always been used just to fuck people over. Sometimes it's used because people genuinely are just like, nah, this is whack. And then people are like, no, you don't get it. This is way fucking better. Let me show you. How did you end up in the wound? Came here 2 years back with the Freeblade Marauders. Been in the wound ever since. Who or what is a Freeblade Marauder? Nothing but the finest of the many fine mercenary groups out of the Free Cities. There's the Freeblades, the House of the Broken Regents, a few others. Social engineering is a sanitized term for manipulation. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's also the simple fact that manipulation always seems to have a negative connotation. When it's something that's for somebody's benefit, we usually just call it convincing them. Aren't the Bronze Brotherhood out of the Free Cities? The Brotherhood? Those fucking fucks can go fuck themselves. Especially that Ratterman, whatever the fuck his name is. Huge fucking cock and crazy as a beast woman raised on bat shit. One of these days he'll lose his head to one of his own people. You mark my fucking words. Good guess, but I got to him first. Well, good riddance. Like I said, somebody was bound to do it. What do you do around here? I used to have a patrol on the wounds, keeping the entryway of any unwanted visitors from Hillstrider and a crew. About a year ago, though, my damn fool husband didn't pull out in time, and the wound found itself another mouth to feed. Of course, the worthless bastard went and got himself torn to pieces fighting the Bane, so I'm up here tending crops and letting my sword arm go to waste so the kid doesn't grow up an orphan. Don't get me wrong, good kid for a babe. I'm just damn glad he's out of me. Tycho's got me on vegetable duty, which suits me fine. Don't know if it's some post-pregnancy bullshit or something. Those creepy glowing mushrooms make me want to lose my lunch and dinner. She glances toward Tycho. He's been hovering more than usual as of late. Thinks I'm slacking off. Interesting. Ooh, fruit. Thank you. And... oh, it's a war mace. Okay. I was wondering what the fuck that was. Ocean's Fury. Okay, we have a blue beast woman. Interesting. Smooth blue fur frames the massive beast woman's flat face, her blunt snout wrinkling as she sniffs at you. Her skin, in what spots you can see, glistens, almost pearlescent. Her upper lip curls back to expose dagger-sharp teeth. Human smells of flame mystic power, singed fursuit, plumed smoke, she snorts. Yet looks small and frail, hairless whelp. What does human disturb Ocean's Fury prowling vigil? I've seen a lot of different beastmen here. How many tribes call this wound home? One and more than one, like human tribes, but grown stronger in difference. One and more than one. My guess would be that she means that they're all from different tribes, but they've been unified together as the Woundkin. One tribe called Woundkin hunts prey in Bastard's Wound. All beastwomen answer to Woundkin name. All did look to Reef Talon as Prima before Reef Talon left it to Old Wall. What tribes did they belong to before they became Woundkin? Ocean's Fury and Reef Talon are Manta-born, first among tribes. She draws herself up proudly and thumps a closed paw across her chest. Manta-born hunt sea as swift sharks, ranging long coast from stalwart to seed. Rule ocean where human brings no war. West Reavers have fur like rust, range the northern lands of the highest tier. Not many days from Wound towards the sunset, where humans fear tread. Yep. She seems to consider the tribe. West Reavers best hunters in grassland, good hunter in mountain. She chuffs lightly. Poor hunters in sea salt. Stone stalkers small, but roam in large packs. Strong mystics know the stone song of Earthblood. Good hunters in mountains, not as good any other place. A few others stock with Woundkin. Chases clouds, glooms of dawn, Katavana. Only few left. What was that about the tribe's differences? Her eyes narrow slightly. Each tribe knows hunting grounds best. Manta-born best swimmers. Small stone stalkers climb quickest. Shadow hunters blend with night and stalk. Simple. And what do you mean by your prowling vigil? Ocean's Fury prowls Wound Farm. Hunts Bane with claws and fangs. Drives away trespassers with growls and knuckles. She points out to the vast gulf to the north. Old walls split down center like lightning fork stump. Bane slip across gulf. Ocean's Fury watch always. You should say diversity is our strength. I mean, in a roundabout way. But she's actually providing rationales for why they're doing that. The ones who are good at hunting in the plains and being stealth ambushers are the people actually are the beastmen that are actually protecting the settlement. Meanwhile, I guess the Mantaborn are capable of operating around the water without having to worry about getting sick by whatever's in it. She snorts and nods. It's also interesting because aside from kills in Shadow, we haven't really seen many of the Beastmen cross tribal lines to work with one another. They seem very insular and tribal in that sense. So it is strange for them to do so. Also, I just find it weird that the blue is what they chose for the various armors for these people in here, because it just kind of stands out, really. Seeing you approaching, the man straightens up a little taller. Wasn't expecting to see a Fatebinder down here. Name's Klydos, Protectors of the Farm. He announces it like a title. You may have heard of me. I assure you, we have not. Okay, Barrick. Tone it down. I know you're a little pissed that all of this is happening. Tone it down. Nope. I have already forgotten you. Wow, okay. Just roast this man. Jesus Christ. Is it just me or do beastmen undergo natural selection at an alarming rate? It's one thing to have cultures develop different skilled learn set, but beastmen seem to evolve them. To be fair, from what we know, the beastmen have been in the tiers for longer than the tiersmen have been here. So that's 500 plus years more than the humans that are here. And there's already some physiological differences between the tiersmen and the northerners that border them. So it wouldn't surprise me if the beastmen, separated as the way they are, developed several radical physiological differences. Not enough to constitute different species, obviously, but enough to constitute distinct ethnicities. Especially among their fur color, which does seem to be highly affected by where their tribes are originally from. So yeah, you need me for anything? Despite his armor, you can tell that he flexes his muscles. Tell me about yourself, Klydos, Protector of the Farm. Sunder born and raised. Didn't have much growing up, and the sea life wasn't for me, so I took up the blade. Been a warrior ever since. Ran with the House of Broken Regents before we ended up here. The hell is the House of Broken Regents? Surprised you haven't heard of us. We were the best damn mercenary company out of the free cities, and don't let those motherless free-raid marauders tell you different. We're the only crew to have bested those stalwart bastards, not that they'd ever admit it. The sour expression briefly mars his features. And how is it you protect the farm? Isn't it obvious? I'm a fighter. A bloody good one, too. It's almost a shame to have me up here on the farm, so far from the Howling Bay. Do you want me to ask Tycho to reassign you? That would be kind of you. But that would leave the farm underguarded. Maybe if it gets too bad down here, sure, but the beastmen seem to have it handled. Claw for claw. Ah, so we have a glory hunter who doesn't want to actually be in the fight, in the line of fire. Tycho has me looking after the mushroom. He keeps a close eye on everything around here. Bit too close if you ask me. She's quick to remind me when I cock something up. Used the wrong water on the mushrooms once and she up and decked me. Okay, to be fair, dude, this community, as even Tycho has said, is on the razor's edge as far as resources go. You can't afford to lose an entire harvest because you used the wrong fucking water. Obviously, I would have blocked it. He chops the air with an open palm. Or dodged it. He jukes illustratively to the left. If I thought anything like that was coming. He clears his throat. Anyway, I had a black eye for a few weeks. Not doing that again. No way, no how. You should attack the place and give him the glory he wants. I think that's everybody? Ooh. Yeah, they are all glowing. Little looks appealing about these rubbery, dung-scented mushrooms, yet the settlers of the wound care for them as if they were the finest fruit. I mean, mushrooms can be very nutritionally dense for what they are, and they basically allow you to recycle your trash, at least your organic trash. Plus them and a few pigs, and bada bing, bada boom, you've got a farm going. Alright. We are an hour and 15 into this, and we have not even finished talking to everybody. Greetings, Fateminder. I think I speak for all the Forgebound when I thank you for your graciousness in regards to our little community. We don't normally barter our weapons and armor, but for a personage such as yourself, we'll gladly make an exception. Would you care to browse our works, or was there something else I could help you with? What can you tell me about this settlement? I personally can't stand mushrooms. The consistency is so weird. Has a squeeze. Oh, absolutely, Tenwin. I agree. I have tried mushrooms in a variety of ways. My main issue is the texture. The flavor, especially if they're done right, the flavor can be amazing. There's nothing quite as earthy as a mushroom in the way that their flavor is. But the texture is so hard to not make me want to throw it up. I've had the occasional dish that has been able to do it. Usually if the mushrooms are cut into very, very small pieces and mixed in with something else. Like I've had like mushrooms and rice that were very finely chopped. I didn't even notice the texture. And that was actually really well. More for you. You are welcome to them, Jello. Please, by all means. They're also just something that in general you have to be fairly competent at cooking to really work with, in my opinion. I'm not a big texture person in general. Well, lucky you, Brown Bear. Trust me. I still to this day cannot eat Jell-O. If Jell-O enters my mouth, it's coming back up. Like, straight up, my brain will not process Jell-O. If I try to swallow Jell-O, it comes right back up within about 5 minutes. I never expected to be making a home near the old walls, that's certain. Between our efforts and Master Jaspos' guidance, we've built of this place something like a home. We could find a better solution for the water issue. Nothing against Wagstaff. He has my admiration as the founder of this community, but being the first settler and being first among settlers are two wholly different things. Let's see what you have on offer. I think you'll be impressed, Fatebinder. Even with the limited resources available in the Wound, the Forge-bound craft the finest creations in all of Tyranus. Just some basic armor. I will take all of these, though. Thank you kindly. Do we have anything we can sell off? We actually do. Don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. The one-handed bronze axe didn't really work. The two-handed axes don't work. Yeah, just go ahead and sell those. Crimson Great Spear. I don't think we need... No, we don't have anybody who can really take advantage of that anyways. Got that. Got that. Go ahead and sell off these. There we go. Plenty of money. Plenty of money. You have anything else to say, Mel? Nope. Okay. Alright, now we can head over in this direction. I'm going to assume that on this side of this settlement, we'll find the people who support Wagstaff. A weary-looking man observes you through dark, sunken eyes, nodding faintly as you approach. Waybinder, greetings to you. Though unkept and draped in disheveled rags, he bows deeply in the style of the northern Tearsman nobility. You observe that his right arm is emaciated and frail, seemingly rooted in place. Rostrum Blank, son of the late Rostrum Volus. I saw you in the bastard city shortly after Tunon's arrival. We've come a long way from then, haven't we? He chuckles mirthlessly at the memory. Is there something I can do for you? Tell me about yourself and the House of Rostrum. You're well acquainted with the manor and its grounds, my father's legacy, my inheritance reduced to rubble and ash. The shattered bastion, they call it. He runs his fingers across his eyes, tracing the dark circles that ring them. The House of Rostrum is but a memory. Prior to Kairos' arrival, we were one of the most successful merchant families, with routes that extended from Azur's capital to Ardent's coast. My father never married. That didn't stop him from asserting control over these lands. Tearsman's laws be damned. I'm all that remains of his 3 heirs. What do you do here personally? If this was really your family's land, I'd be surprised you're not trying to lead the settlement. Is this a face worthy of leadership? He snorts, running his hands through unruly hair. No, I lack my father's ambition, and I've seen where it leads. Besides, I have little to offer these folks beyond a memory of more optimistic days. He rubs a thick scar running down his arm. My father would be enraged if he saw me today, pacing the mushroom beds or helping to slaughter swine. This life may not be much, but it's something, at least. How was the manor destroyed? My father's optimism was to blame. Before the Overlord's forces even set foot in the tier, my father invited Tearsmen of all persuasions into these walls to resist Kairos. Didn't matter who you were. Once the tier fell, Cairn arrived to make an example of my family. That monster sundered the whole fucking mountain with my home. My family was killed by the very walls we'd raised to protect them. I was the luckiest. I was merely pinned by a stone column, clutched as the floor heaved from his onslaught. His maimed arm quivers with some unknown exertion. Eventually, a single finger extends downward and points at his right leg, heavily scarred and bent at an unnatural angle. My fighting days are done, Fatebinder, even if I hate the Overlord more than ever. If I recall from the laws of your people's lands, it's highly unusual for a man to claim land ownership. My father didn't cleave to tradition. I'm sure that passing women the land and stuffing men aboard the ships made sense when our ancestors needed clearer lines of inheritance.
Men drown, women wear the crown, as they say in the South. Karen dunked on this man's whole family. Yeah. My father never set foot in water. Goes to show how you can overcome any eccentricity if your coffers have enough rings. They speak more persuasively than you or I ever could.
Some supplies. And it's really funny because from the sound of it, his father was the only one who was just like, oh no, everybody should be fighting Kairos as one force. Like, you'd think people, like, that was part of the problem. The tiers had one entry point that they could have defended. If the entirety of the tiers had gathered their armies, marched to the Bastard City, and held that pass, it's most likely that Kairos would have had to issue multiple edicts just to break into the tiers. Instead, they watched and waited, and eventually, pfft, the fucking Bastard tier fell, and then Kairos' armies just spread. Ah, yeah, this person's loyal to Wagstaff. Fatebinder. The woman before the cart greets you evenly. She wears her graying hair pulled back high over fouled leathers, her narrow eyes emphasizing the dirty creases above her cheeks. There's not a lot of trade in the wound, little of that in magical goods, but if you need scribbles or mixtures gleaned from our forays into the old walls, I'm the one to ask. Ugh. What can you tell me of the Bastard's wound? Not a bad little place to carve out, better than the war topside. Wagstaff started things, and he's been capable on hand as the rudder. That makes sense. Real father-like, he's got a stake in it. That overpuffed bricklayer Jaspos, on the other hand, he's just like every other shit stain come south from the conquest, looking for a way to bend the tears over and ram his poker up the... She clears her throat. Sorry, got a bit away from myself there. You do know that collecting and distributing lore from the old walls is as serious as crime as settling them, correct? Well, fucked either way then, aren't I? Don't worry, Binder, I won't go selling to someone who wasn't a court luminary like yourself. Fine, let's see what you have on offer. Ooh, what is this? Plus 15% shock damage on hit, plus 15% shock damage on abilities and spells. Ooh. I should probably buy that and give that to Ebb. Sigil Lightning, we have that. Distant Impact, we have that. Precise Action, we have that. We'll go ahead and buy your scrolls and your alchemy supplies. And we'll go ahead and sell you some stuff that I don't need. The basic armor will do. Cloth bracers. Siren's basic shit that we don't need. Crescent Rider armor. Scarlet Fury armor. Oathbound boots. Heavy bronze boot. Yeah, there we go. That'll get some of our money back. You know collecting lore from the old walls is illegal, right? I'll have to confiscate your rubbings. Stuffs them into pack. Give me, give me, give me.
I got it.
Water sounds calmer here, and yet as deep as the sea.
Why is some of this water red? Arranged at angles that recall the sigil of Gravelight, these crystals shimmer with the collected glow of what little radiance from Taradas Grave filters into these depths. I really should bring Ebb here. You would think that Ebb would want to have a talk with possibly one of the only other Tidecasters still in the fucking world. They found the Kool-Aid. In fact, I'm going to hold off. I might go ahead and swap Verse out for Ebb. Ebb and Kills in Shadow. Yeah, I might do that. Let's finish talking. Oh. Oh, what's going on over here? Oh, okay, the Beastmen are... Uh-oh. Well, they had that handled pretty well. What are you doing? Oh, they're turning it off. Okay. Ugh.
And they have a hole that Bane come out of. This place just gets better by the heartbeat.
Insipid Moniker. Why is your name Insipid Moniker? Welcome to our little refuge, Fatebinder. Oh god, there's so many female characters in this area, and I know I'm giving them all the same voice because I can't differentiate female voices very well. God damn it. I'm sorry, there's only so much I can do. My voice range is bad enough as it is, and they've given me so many goddamn female characters to voice, and I suck at all of them. Welcome to our little refuge, Fatebinder. You here to help us keep the wound clear of Bane? Insipid Moniker picks at a splotch of dried blood on her greaves. She wears the patchwork armor of a Scarlet Fury. Oh, so that's why she has the name. We appreciate your effort regardless. Thank you. In fact, I got a, believe it or not, Brown Bear, I got a YouTube comment on one of my VODs as well that the guy basically said he was very happy that I voiced everything because then he can just listen to it without having to constantly glance over at the screen the whole time. And then he'd be watching the rest of my Pillars of Eternity Let's Play and Pillars of Eternity 2 when it comes out. So we actually have people on YouTube watching stuff. Yay! Hello, YouTube. Everybody say hi to YouTube. There's actually some people who enjoy my stuff there. Yay. Are the Bane constantly showing up like that? Welcome to our headache. The way the Bane come and go, you'd think the teleporters are beaded curtains. Lucky for us, the beasts seem to love killing them. They'll put in more hours on sentry duty than any human, and I welcome the extra sleep. What is through that portal? That one goes deeper into the untamed parts of the walls. We sent patrols out to sharpen the beast's claws and tighten the number of Banes. We haven't exactly mapped it. Been recommending your stuff to people that are curious about what they need to watch before playing about it. Oh, thank you, Tenwin. Thank you so much. I hope they enjoy me ripping the Gods of Aora a new one in the later part of that Let's Play, because fuck, the Pantheon in Aora is fucked. Andra can go spin. And the salt, yes. How did you get that name? Funny story that. There's a piece of advice they should really give every new chorus conscript, but they don't. Oh, you poor pathetic fool. You actually asked the voices for a nickname. You know the Archon's an artist of suffering, don't you? I could have been shits for days or bloody sores if I had waited long enough. Even hindsight would have been more appropriate. What do you do here exactly? Whatever Wagstaff wants. Guess you could call me an apprentice. I can read, which is more than most can say. It's more subtle than the red work of the chorus, but I don't mind a change of pace. So the blue is to honor Wagstaff? Exactly. Fucker iced half my gang with his spell, so now I fight for him. Those are the rules. In a twisted way, I think the voices would approve. Not that his approval is any safer than his wrath. Good point.
I got it.
Yeah, you can see the physiological differences between the Stone Stalkers, who are usually the white. Yeah. Oh, no, the dark ones are Shadow Hunters. Right. But Kills in Shadow said that there weren't many Shadow Hunters left. So I guess it is a bit weird for them to still be here. And then you have, yeah, West Reavers and Mentaborn. Okay. Thought Wagstaff was Chorus, and that's why he had his name. Oh, I mean... It could be... Yeah, yeah, I could see that. I was about to say maybe he was conscripted at one point and got away, but he wouldn't keep his chorus name if that's the case, especially not as a Tidecaster. Yeah, I think I might do... I kind of want both Ebb and... but we're going to go into the old walls, and I need to bring Lantry because that's where I'm going to find the more sigils. Fuck. I don't have enough fucking character slots. If he was conscripted, the voices would have ate him for that succulent Tidecaster knowledge. No, you're right. That's true. 4-character limit comes back to haunt you. It's been haunting me since the beginning, Tenwin. Make no mistake. I remember specifically bringing it up back in, like, the second or third stream. Oh my god. Oh, hold on. Oh god, I have to figure out if I can do a Bruce Campbell impression. Groovy. Oh no, that's not it at all. Shop smart. Shop S-smart. If you're wall smart, shop wall smart. That's what I always say. Clears his throat. This is Wallsmart. Welcome. You're working on cries to drive custom. What do you think? Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do it. Or well, technically 3, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. Sounds good. You've almost got it. Thank you kindly, friend. And they say Fatebinders don't have a sense of humor. Kills in Shadow, Ebb, and Siren. There are rubbings to be had. You can always double back for them later. Oh, but I don't want to double back for them. I don't like backtracking. I stock the stable foods and potions you expect from the Azure Merchant at the Haven Value, all in the comfort of the old walls. What can you tell me about the Bastard's Moon? Fantastic, as long as the beasts keep the bane away. Wagstaff's lads and lasses have been making short work of them too, and he keeps the waters from, well, let's just say you won't want to get your water. You will want to get your water from him. Or Jaspos, I suppose. Nothing against him, but he's got a bit of the old northern blowhard to him. No offense to you, of course. Your blow seems entirely soft. Or, that's not better, is it? You know, I'm going to shut up now. Let me see what you have on offer. As you wish, we're the cheapest in the wound. Ooh. Imperator's Old Walls Regalia. Light Armor Nude. Popular legend of the Tears ridicules Imperator Thessanax, a nearly mythical northern warlord who swore the invisible armor he purchased from an adventurous raider of the old walls could protect him from any and all harm. Those who suggested he had been swindled were publicly fed to sharks. While Thessanax may never have existed, this armor certainly does. Probably.
Sarah needs enriching for her growth and less time unsupervised with your party who are less strong-minded than you. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We don't need any of the rest of this. I'll take those. Another merchant. And another beast woman. Good day to you, Fatebinder. Let me be the first to tell you of all my licenses are well in order, signed and sealed this very year. He swipes a layer of perspiration from his bow and chuckles nervously. No reason at all to ransack my cart or confiscate goods. I trade in whatever I can get my hands on these days. Care to have a look? What can you tell me of the wound? What's there to say? We live in the depths of the old walls. Ain't exactly a wise man's dream, but neither is living under the constant threat of raiders. At least down here, my back gets watched by the beasts. Jaspo seems to be a pretty good handle on how things should be done. He's certainly more of a people person than Wagstaff. That don't mean the Tidecaster's a bad person or nothing. Can't exactly stay in touch with the supply lines down here, but at least I have customers where nowhere else goes. Let me see what you have. Ooh. We do not have that one. Sigil of Strength. Ooh. Give me. I'll also take the bronze ingots and the hides. New spell. New spell. Yep. Or sigil, really. Lore 100 just to you. Holy shit. So is that the... Hold on. Yes, that's the third rank of that one. Holy fuck, that requires a lot. But it's an over 50% heal. Holy shit. And with the effect that I put on there, it also reduces recovery time by a lot.
On it.
Ooh. Oh, they're just training. Those people are there. Who are you? No. If not, will not rescue if human falls into water. Understandable. Have a good day. An expensive sigil, yeah. Stonesucker Mystic, Mantiborn. Yeah, nobody's named here. It's all just that. That leads back up towards here. So that just leaves... Oh, wait. There was something over there that we missed. Get back over here, then. But yes, we will go ahead, Beastman kids, who you don't have to murder. Yay, it's a little early for that, Brown Bear. We could just condemn this settlement and kill everybody in it. I'd rather not. Nobleman's tunic. Okay, that'll be worth some money. But yes, I think we will go ahead and go grab Ebb and Kills in Shadow. I think that's a good idea. Oh, wait. This is not the way we're supposed to go. God, is that going to be the first time we haven't had Barrack in the party? I think it is. Ooh. Oh, that's cool. Karen's Passage, Bastard Wound Farm. Actually, now that I think about it, shouldn't I talk to the people outside the... Yeah. Weird that they didn't want me to talk to the people inside. Now that I think about it. I think I may have been swindled, gentlemen. Yeah, I think I may have been swindled. This is going to come back and haunt me, isn't it? Okay. We need to take a trip back to Mountain Spire. Is that the shortest route? 2 days, 1 hour, 15 minutes versus... Yeah, 2 days, 1 hour. Yeah, this is the fastest. Do 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 do. Ooh. Messenger from the Mountain Spire. A short young man with a lank flop of dark hair and a surprisingly full beard. The messenger wears bloodshot eyes and a nervous disposition. Ever since your issuance of the edict against your foes at Vengeance Well, the courier tells you, the Valley of Apex has been set by an ever-increasing number of Bane. Creatures seem inimical to all life, and their predations have the people of Apex hiding in terror rather than tending the fields. This keeps up, the lands you've claimed will not be able to support your spire, regardless of how rapacious your tax collectors become. The messenger asks what orders you wish returned to the spire. Inquire further. You press the messenger for more details. He tells you that there have been scattered Bane sighted throughout the valley, but they're thickest around Vengeance Well Citadel and in the mountains that ring the Old Dominion. They've attacked a handful of travelers and devastated livestock throughout the valley. Given that the farms are still recovering from the conquest, the rise of the Vendrian Guard, and the subsequent civil war between the Archons, it couldn't be a worse time for Bane to appear. Give our orders. Lure the Bane away. Request aid from your allies. Ignore the Bane. No, we'll lure the Bane away. You theorize that a focused act of magic by a mystic at another spire could draw the Bane away from the mountain spire. It won't be a simple thing to complete without an edict, but it's a plan that could defuse the issue without significant bloodshed. Of course, you doubt the people in the area around the spire will appreciate any Bane the magic attracts, but they could be better suited to deal with them than the farmers of Apex. Ooh, the Dawning Spire, Howling Rock, the Aurora Spire.
The Ocean Spire, the Sunset Spire. Ooh. So hold on. The Guffglow Old Walls is the one over here. Ocean Spire is down there. So that would piss off the disfavored. The Sunset Spire, Lethian's Crossing, that would piss off Lethian for obvious reasons. The Aurora Spire would also piss off the disfavored because that's where they are. The Dawning Spire at Howling Rock? Wait, no. Spire and the Azure might have been a good place to send them if the Stone Stalkers were still there. Yeah. No, Howling Rock is where the actual disfavor. So maybe Gulf Glow, I guess. That was where they were mining the Azurite, but it might be easier since the Earthshakers will have an easier time with the Bane than anybody else. Probably best. We earned Favor with the Venturing Guard, Wrath with the Stone Stalkers, which doesn't really matter, and Wrath with the Stone Sea Villagers, which also doesn't really matter. Sorry. Send your envoy to the Spire with your orders. Every able-bodied magician available should come together at the Spire's top and perform a group ritual. The working must last at least a night and a day, the massive states, and longer if possible. The Spire will magnify the magic, of course, and hopefully that will cause the Bane from the valley. It will call the Bane from the family farmlands. The messenger thanks you for your time and leaves you to fulfill your command. Okay, we need to go ahead and grab Kills and Shah.
Fate Binder wants Beast Woman?
Go ahead and drop
Goodbye to
hers.
you too.
And we're going to go ahead and grab Ebb.
I trust all is well, my glorious Archon. I'm honored you wish to speak. What is it you need? Of course.
We will drop
He's
Barrack.
seeing you, Fatebinder.
Let's go ahead and get you leveled up. Let me see here. Her spell strength is good, so we just want to focus on her cooldown. Significant damage dealt by magic staves. Gain a large bonus to all shock and frost damage dealt. Maybe. Ebb's presence frightens nearby Bane. Well, given that we're about to go into the old walls and possibly fight Bane, that seems like it would be a really good ability to have. Gain bonus lore and additional spell slots. Yes, please. Nothing else for you guys. And if that's the case, I need to... Yes, we need to update her. Do we have any more of these that we can do? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, ooh, Material Force. Static Charge. Oh, that just is an enchantment. Thunderstorm. Yes. Damn, her lore skill is not nearly high enough. I need to go train her on lore immediately. Oof, we can't even do... Oof, we can't even do... There we go. Accuracy. It's better than nothing. And then I will go ahead and also give... Yeah, we'll take Surge of Glory. 56% additional damage. Go ahead and up the duration as well. Actually, hold on. Oh, yeah, we want that. Otherwise, it's only for a really short amount of time. 45. Can we increase the strength of that? We can. Go ahead and update that for you. Sigil. Do I want Sigil of Atrophy? I don't think so. I don't think there was anything. We really need to learn that Gravelight one just so I can teach her other Gravelight spells. God's sake. From the Atlantis, the Disney animation said she should be older. Yeah, I can kind of see that. She's also way less... She's way more pale, to be fair, Lord Brownbear. Kita from Atlantis was pretty tan. Pretty damn dark skin, honestly. It probably wasn't a tan, given the fact that there was no sunlight where they were living, so we'll just assume it was the natural skin shade. I really got to get her lore up. We need to go...
I got it.
We need to go deal with that. Also need to see if she has... Yes, that... Let's go ahead and do that. No, not that one. Do we have another light armor set? We do not. Unfortunate. Yeah, we need to go... was it at the library, I want to say? Which should be the... Yeah, or no, the infirmary? I think it was the infirmary. Some of Ebb's concept art had her with tanner skin. Why am I not surprised that you know this, Lord Brownbear? Yep, there we go. Stage you 4 up. I'd like to train. Ebb. Just dump it into fucking lore. There we go. He's maxed out. I'll go ahead and grab me some additional training in lore as well. Hills in Shadow. I think we can go grab her some unarmed, and we do want her... Okay, we do not want Siren in front. No, that sounds like a horrible idea. I guess I'll take the middle, and we'll have Siren and Ebb in the back. That's probably the best we can hope for. So next we'll teleport over to the Dawning Spire. That is... Yeah, training grounds. That should have the unarmed person. Ebb concept art to find a reference sheet. Sure, Brown Bear. I'm sure that's all you did. Dream Slayer, Death Leap. Is Death Leap? I think Death Leap is also the dodge and unarmed combat. There we go. We'll go ahead and just pump that. There we go. Everybody trained up. Good.
Shadow hunt.
2 additional attribute points. Let's go ahead with spell cooldown and accuracy. 1 point. Keep pumping that accuracy. Subterfuge. Wall stealth gain 100%. I just don't have the patience to deal with stealth most of the time, so I'd much rather not worry about that right now. Yeah, requires that she have the actual weapon. Requires that she have an actual weapon. Works for all weapons and gives health every 6 seconds and causes bleeding. Yes, we'll go ahead and grab that. We need to get her down here to get the additional maximum health and to reduce damage from different sources.
To slink in dark.
Oh, right. Almost forgot. Ebb. Go ahead and... Can only be hit by ranged attacks. Cannot move. Lasts for 13.1 seconds. Would be useful. It's a bonus to magic defense. Right now I need to improve her offensive capabilities. Then we'll go ahead and grant bonus armor while she is in light armor, which she should be in just light armor right now. Light armor, light armor, light armor, and light armor. Yes. Also, we wanted to give her this for the additional shock damage. She'll lose the finesse, but that's fine. Why? Oh, I never... Okay, that's why. I needed to find the better one. Go ahead and drop that off. She still has her Bane Touch Staff. Thinking maybe upgrade that?
Stalks and kills and
Nah, I think
grows
we're
more
good.
deadly in darkness.
Great Binders in a party full of women. I certainly this will go very well. I'm sure it will. Alright, I think we're good now. Let's go ahead and teleport back to the Bastard's Wound. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh. Go. Ah, stretch. Alright, let's go talk with the Tidecaster and see if Ebb has a reaction to that. I imagine she will. I'm Come on, Obsidian. Don't let me be disappointed by your writing staff. You've been doing a real good job so far. A bearded, weathered figure stands by the pool's edge, eyes closed in concentration. His face, uncharitably weathered from years of sun and wind, is a collection of deep, intertwining creases wreathed by a brittle-looking gray mane. One disapproving eye snaps open as you approach. Of all the shriveled barnacles to find, you? By Kairos' swollen tit, you? What of Camberil? Hargavar? Don't tell me you're all that's left. Oh, great, they hate each other. We're literally being introduced to them and they hate each other. Step back, let them talk. They fought the good fight but fell to Cairn at the well. What's your excuse? How'd you slither your way here? They're dead, so the militants have fallen and you're all that's left. Fuck us all. Kairos really has won. And I didn't slither.
It's more of a surreptitious crawl. Speaking of lowly vermin, what are you doing with this low life?
Do you need me to give you two a moment?
A moment? Hardly. I can't think of the last time Wagstaff has kept up his banter for more than a minute or two.
And Brown Bear just grasping at every attempt to every single lead that could lead him towards Ebb.
Ever since you aged into that face of a worn tangerine, we've all had problems keeping things up around you.
Oh, he's snapping back. Holy shit.
Speaking of improbable feats of tumescence, is that little apex boy of yours still ramming your stern on the regular?
Nope, I'm going to stay silent.
Aldanos died of his wounds from the Battle of the Gates of Judgment.
How about... No, Brown Bear, he was referring to her husband. Since she's talking about the Battle of the Gates of Judgment, that was the one that was her husband that died at the beginning of the invasion.
How about you? I can only assume that half the reason you're here is to find some new apprentices and fuck them. That's what I'd do.
Okay, never mind, Brown Bear, you're right. I didn't read the rest of that statement. Remain silent.
Well, yes and no. Yes with the apprentices, but I don't know. I might just stay here. We've stumbled upon something unusual. Not sure how permanent a solution living here might be, but I'm trying to make the most of it. Your friend being here changes things.
The Tidecaster points at you with a scowl.
We always knew outsiders would come, but short of Graven Ash showing up, a Fatebinder is about as terrifying a notion as we could have imagined.
Smashing Ebb isn't hard, it's surviving that's the challenge. Pretty much. She does definitely seem like she would take you on a ride, quite literally.
I hear you've already spoken with our other advocate, Jaspos, regarding the legality of this place. I wish you'd spoken with me first, but if Jaspos convinced you to show us mercy, then perhaps I owe him a day without denigrating comments. Well, half a day, maybe. Thank you, Fatebinder. I knew the day would come when we'd be discovered, and I imagined a far bloodier scenario. In this regard, I'm happy to be made a fool. Life here in the Wound isn't easy, and we always assumed outsiders bring us death, not help. Your leniency is the sort of surprise we need in these times, and though I would never have guessed it, your arrival may be the sign of good things to come.
Let me guess. You need my help.
We normally avoid contact with the outside for fear of trouble following us back home. With our duties here, leaving is out of the question. Yet there are matters beyond these walls in need of solution. That I cannot leave this place to handle my own affairs, perhaps I can retain your services.
Very Durant. Obsidian and writing old religious men to just be the most cantankerous of fuckers. Depends on what you have in mind.
There's an old rival of mine out there, a sage named Phoebe.
He twists the rope on the end of his belt, grimacing.
Yes, we're from rival schools. No, this isn't just a case of an unsettled score. I would live and let live, but she poses a threat to here. She had knowledge of my plans to journey north to trace Cain's path in the mountains, and that may expose us. She could bring a slew of homeless sages here, probably followed by a gaggle of spies. It's not worth the risk. She needs to die.
His tone is matter of fact, almost casual.
The problem is finding her. We had a mutual contact, one Melita, who used to spend the time of this year in Lethian's Crossing. The two are still in touch. She might be able to point you in the right direction. All of the Wound would be in your debt, most of all me. And I trust you to help.
Is this sage really a threat?
She is a risk to everyone living here. The woman hates my guts.
Oh, so you slept with her.
Having dealings with her in the past was a mistake, and I'll be damned if I let that error ruin everything we've built here.
Sounds like an old woman. Sounds like he and Ebb are more alike than they like to admit. I'm imagining that that before it was burned to the ground, the Vellum Citadel had a variety of folders that are just filled with, and then a sage and a Tidecaster slept together, and afterwards they tried to murder one another. And it just keeps repeating throughout the years of history, throughout the tiers. Every time a sage and a Tidecaster get together, it's initially very, very like passionate and romance-filled, but it always ends with one of them trying to kill the other one. There has never been a successful romance between the two. Isn't that just humanity in a nutshell? Yes, but when the two people have a 100% failure rate and they're both magic users, I imagine that it's a bit more explosive than normal.
Now that her school is in ruins, she'll view my accomplishments here as research to be appropriated. And while she's at it, she'll engineer a catastrophe for the wound just to spite me. So yes, Fatefinder, I'm sure.
How did you know her?
Over a decade ago, the schools of Tides and the schools of Ink and Quill tried yet again to discuss peace. She represented her school. I was forced to represent our end of this fruitless mediation. It was all a farce to get to know a few of us, figure out who should be spied upon. Just a span later, some of my work was discovered by the sages. Fucking word thieves, every last one of them.
I will see about finding her. We'll work things out from there.
Thank you. This matter has haunted me for a while. If my stupidity caused the wound to be uncovered, well, best not to think of it. You have been unlike the other servants of Kairos I've encountered. We are indebted to your patience and reason. One more thing, Fatefinder. If you do kill her, be sure to gather her belongings. That's very important. That's the only way I can verify that you found the right sage. It would also... His words falter as he chokes up with a halting smile. It would also mean a great deal to see my old scrolls back, on the off chance the bitch still carries them. It's a petty and vain request, but if you've been robbed before, you know the feeling. Now, what else do you want of me?
What do you do here as one of the leaders? He shakes his head.
I'm the only real leader, as I've said before, but I won't belabor the point.
He clears his throat.
3 years ago, I stumbled across these old walls and very quickly found I wasn't alone. A clutch of hungry and sick tearsmen had stumbled upon this enclave as well. We had all come here to escape Kairos, but I'm nothing if not driven by noblesse oblige. I decided I'd weigh anchor for a bit and help out.
The staff dips into the pool at his feet, sending ripples across its surface.
Water was both the problem and the solution. The refugees were surrounded by it, but couldn't drink it without picking up whatever the old walls-induced disease lives within it. Withering rot, we call it.
What's wrong with the water down here?
The streams that run through the old walls, it's something foul picked up in them. Some think the Bane do their business upstream and it taints the water. I think the origin is less scatological, but likely mystical all the same. Whatever it is, it leads to fever, then seizures, and eventually death. I've been able to concoct a remedy, if administered in time, and I can mix this solution with water to make it drinkable. But untreated, the water here is a death sentence.
And these people accepted your leadership.
Did I knock them about first, if that's what you're asking? No, they were survivors of one of the battles with Cairn, who brought a keep down on their heads, opened a route into this enclave in the process. They were starving, lost, terrified of the Bane. They came to me for help, since my magic could keep them safe. Times sure have changed, folks begging a tide caster to save them.
Strange how the general attitude towards our school shifted dramatically when Kairos' minions marched into town. And what happened with the withering rot?
You waste away in an agonizing fashion, and that's the short of it. The water here slakes your thirst for a moment, and those reported feeling dry no matter how much they drank.
They'd be pissing and shitting out more than you put in. Oh, so it is some form of dysentery. They didn't describe it before with the pissing and shitting. They just said that they wasted away. So it is some form of cholera or dysentery.
While being desperately thirsty all the same.
God, this guy's voice is killing my throat.
Your skin shrivels and cracks, and eventually you die, a pathetic, desiccated husk of a person. That's what I found when I first opened upon the wound. A lot of scared, dying folks that weren't long for this world.
Or just notice all the mice pooping in their cups. That's not the sort of detail you like to bring up every time you talk about it. When someone is asking for details, I need to know this stuff so I can make an informed understanding of what the fuck's happening.
Nobody was gonna right the ship except me, so I stayed, and they lived. To a tidecaster, these are trivial matters. As long as I'm here, making a solution to purifying the water is a simple matter. I make life here possible. It's a difficult burden, but I'm honored that my talents are put to good use.
I'd like to know more about the tidecasters.
Oh, she didn't wax nostalgically already?
With a nudge of his staff, the old man glares at Ebb. Apparently my information is out of date. I sure thought I was the last of our school, but apparently I hadn't looked under the rock you've been calling home.
We are the students of Occulted Jade, Archon of Tides. She was one of the founding pioneers of the Tiers for 5 centuries. Her school has been the longest-running institution of learning in the peninsula, no matter what the sages say.
And why didn't you leave with the others?
I was one of the few to stay, and why not? The Tiers are my home. I don't care about Kairos' war, the slaughter sport of the damned Archons. I also wasn't going to sail west to die of starvation on the endless sea. The promised lands are a lie. The ocean goes onward, and maybe you fall off the edge or you wrap around to the eastern coast of Taratus on land that's already claimed in Kairos' lap. If I'm to die, it will be on my father's coast and my mother's land.
And what have you been doing since the school's departure?
I spent the first few span dealing with unfinished business. A half-dozen sages had wronged friends of mine, and I'll admit, vengeance occupied me for a time. Then Kairos' forces came in force, and I decided to stay far from the beaten path. I set out to the mountains to find privacy. This place was serendipity writ large. When others stumbled upon this place, it somehow shifted from hovel to home. I didn't expect or ask for the responsibility of caring for these people, but now that I wear it, the mantle is comforting.
What did you do in the school before the war? What was your title exactly? I don't think we ever had a ceremonial office for the instructor most dedicated to diddling their students.
Oh, come off it. You enjoyed that privilege as much as I did. Besides, they listen more closely if you make them feel special. Okay. Oh, that is horrifying to hear. You're both horrible. What the fuck?
Can you at least wait until they're no longer your students, you fucking assholes?
Provost of Antiquities was the official title. My life's work was the curation of the school's past, the relics, sermons from occulted Jade herself, the life stories of the Tidecaster elders past, that sort of work. My personal interest has always been on the more fluidic magics of our school. Most of the school embraces the mighty power of Gravelight, and I can't blame them. But for me, water, mist, ice, fog, these have always been more immediate, more real, more worthy of understanding.
Everyone sucks here. I mean, yes, it's a very grim, dark world, but I wasn't expecting them to just be casually like, yeah, we fucked our students. It's like, ah.
That is still... That's just... No, just stop it. Just stop it. Ed, Wagstaff, stop it. Ugh.
You find a consenting adult and they're not under your power as a student, then okay, fine. I don't give a shit what you do with another consenting adult. But you don't fucking do it with your students. It shouldn't be that hard. But apparently the entire Tidecaster school was like this, so what the fuck do I know? Why didn't the Tidecasters stay and fight?
If I may be so bold as to answer your question with a question, why do you think? Not many folks seem to know the truth, so I'm actually kind of curious what one of Kairos' soldiers believed happened.
Wait, so all I have to do is apply to be Eb's apprentice? Apparently, well, be her apprentice and be, you know, physically attractive enough that she wants to do something with you, I would assume. My assumption would be that you or Archon must have known something we don't. Perhaps the cartographers are wrong. Maybe there is land to the west.
That was a lie, many were told. None of the explorers that we sent out ever found land across the ocean. Yet Jade told many of the younger Tidecasters that an archipelago was out there, just waiting for us. The truth is, the Archon lacked the will to resist. Many of the Tidecasters craved war, but lost heart at the notion of facing the enemy without an Archon to lead the charge. Enough. I don't wish to revel in the cowardice of my fellow Tidecasters. I made the decision to stay. I'm not pretending I'm some brave hero, but at least I'm trying to hold on to some small port in the storm.
How do you purify the water?
It's impossible to convey the intricacies. Suffice it to say, I must infuse water with Gravelight energy. This, combined with trace amounts of alcohol and a few drops of beastman blood. It counteracts the mortifying effects of the old water, and yes, I see that look in your eye. Worry not. The beastmen willingly gift these vital fluids, when they can. It is a tiring process, but it produces clean, restorative water. Jaspos's product is an amateur's imitation and will never sustain this place in the long run. That's why I've taken on Insipid Moniker as my apprentice, to safeguard this process. And unlike most, she knows when to stay out of my way.
What do you think of Jaspos? His eyes glaze over at the mention of his rival's name.
If only that rock pounder would just shut up. He loves the sound of his own voice.
He grips the roping on his waist, squeezing it with a clenched fist.
Unfortunately, his forge is on the upper level, so his soliloquies flow down here to ensure my misery. This place has better acoustics than the Academy. Lucky me. He probably fucks Insipid Monica. Probably. Although she is a former member of the chorus and fairly fit from the looks of it, it may be that she fucks him. Ooh, Tenwin. Okay. Okay. I appreciate the joke, Tenwin. That's about as far up the line as I want. I do not want this turning into a shouting match about current events, please. But yes, you are not the CEO of an insurance company. Lord Brownbear, put the gun down. I'm not even saying the guy didn't deserve it, but couldn't have happened to a nicer dude. But I really don't. I have already seen this issue exploding on social media. I do not want to deal with it here. Please, no. Let's focus instead on the crazy people of the Tidewater School. She probably fucks it. I do not appreciate the mental image you made me create. I never said anything about penetration, Lord Brownbear. You're the people who think that. When I say that she fucks him, I was thinking she'd be on top. Shall we say? That was to be declined as not severe enough. Fair enough. Where was I? He thinks because he can cleanse the water, not as well as I do, mind you. Well, I'm glad that I have infected your thoughts, Brown Bear. You have fun dealing with that. That he can pontificate at all hours of the day. I nearly drowned myself once rather than listen to one of his tirades. But I knew the moment my body was discovered, he'd be raining another righteous speech about cowardice upon my corpse, and that wouldn't do. Look, I'll say it plain. Jaspos has a big mouth, and he talks incessantly about transforming Bastard's Wound into something great. The truth is, he's out for himself. He slams his staff into the ground, mouth quivering as he speaks. I built this place from nothing, and he thinks he can come in and claim it when the hard work was already done? Not on my watch. Name before joining the chorus was Peggy. Actually, Tenwin, you're from Europe. Isn't Peggy, P-E-G-I, the name for like the European equivalent for the rating system that the US uses for video games? Because I see that on video, on like trailers and stuff. It's like Peggy 18 or Peggy 13 or something like that. That's what it's called, right? Because every time I heard it, I had to stifle a giggle because it sounds like that. I make so many horny comments. It takes a lot for the straight man. Peggy, yes, I think. Yeah, every time I've heard that, I have had to suppress a chuckle because I hear that and my fucking internet-rotted brain can't help but laugh. I heard that a beast woman once held sway here. He cocks an eyebrow. Ah, Reef Talon. Curious case, that one. She pawned her way into these caves a year ago with her cubs. Vicious fighter. Bane of the Bane, I like to say. She took charge of the tribe, but had a way about her. The most fascinating beast I'd ever met. Oddly pensive, strangely polite, prone to actually bathing. Speaks nonsense. Cowed and submissive by sound of it. Reef Talon sounds like mewling bulwark, not proper alta. Yeah, things got unusual then. After a bloody dust-up with the Bane, Reef Talon healed some members of the patrol with her touch. I can't say heal with a straight face. Those who had their wounds tended by Reef Talon felt spectacular for a few days. But by the week's end, a whole new host of maladies overtook them. Eating homemade pizza, so piled with meat and cheese, the dough sags slightly under the weight. That's how you know you're doing it right. Or that's how you know you need to make more dough so it doesn't sag as much. Make yourself a pan pizza. You want a nice thick dough with the cheese all the way to the edge of the pan. This is not your New York style pizza. You gotta get a thicker dough so that it can support all those extra toppings. But pan pizza is usually the way to go, especially for homemade pizza, because it's really hard without a pizza stone and a pizza oven to do like thin New York Neapolitan style pizza. But pan pizza is usually way easier to do. Was Reef Talon a mystic? She claimed she wasn't. Never known a beast to downplay her strengths, but as sure as water's wet, she could mend wounds with a mere touch. So she must have had some training. Haven't seen what her healing did. Hindsight tells me she may be hesitant to discuss her mystic training. Perhaps trained by fool for a mystic. Why else would Beastwoman hide such strengths? True mystic wears power proudly, does not viper slither in obsequiousness. Wow, I think that's the longest word we've ever had Kills in Shadow say. What sort of problems happen to those who were healed? I've heard them referred to as the sleepless. It started subtle, really. Folks treated by her just slept a little less each night. At first, they claimed they felt too hale and hardy to sit in bed. Later, they'd be exhausted from days spent waking, unable to sleep. The old Tidecaster shifts his weight with a sigh. And after days upon days of being sleepless, other things would start to go. Their tempers, then their memories, and worst of all, a few who could work the sigils just straight up lost the talent. Imagine spending an afternoon listening to Jaspos droning on about the virtues of pulverizing stone. You'd be frustrated and exhausted, somewhat murderous in intent, but for some reason you can't sleep. Night turns to day, which turns to night. We took to calling them the sleepless, yes, and warned others of what became of those cured by Reef Talon. And what became of her? A few span back, a patrol of disfavored were in the mountains, searching areas struck by Karen's magic, so they claim. They stumbled on our refuge, and being disfavored, were shocked and appalled not just by our squatting in the walls, but the beastmen living here. A few even deferred to Reef Talon during the parley. Seeing humans look to a beast woman was rather appalling to those iron thugs. The meeting turned violent. Jaspos' wife was also his apprentice. To be fair, she was his apprentice, and then they got stuck here for multiple years, so at least that took time to develop. Whereas these guys are just like, yeah, no, we had casual flings with our students all the time, which is still... We bested the disfavored, but Reef Talon fled during the altercation. I guess the combination of guilt from warping us with magic and the feeling of shame from her presence roused the disfavored to attack us. I don't have any proof, but I think Reef Talon fled to save us from her. There's plenty of folks who hate her for it. I, for one, don't think her actions were ever malicious. Protecting this place is all she ever cared about. Probably realized she had to go to save us all. Regardless of her motivation, I'm certain she fled deeper into the old wall. Not topside. Ever someone claimed she dove into the water. Another claimed she accessed one of the teleporters. Either way, she hasn't been to the village since the disfavored. If anyone can survive the depths of the old wall alone, trust me, it's Reef Talon. That said, she's been gone a while now, and I'm not sure I'd wager money on even her survival. What happened to the rest of the sleepless? When Reef Talon fled, most of the sleepless went with her. Whether they chased her out of anger or fear of being deserted, I don't know. You might find a few here in the refuge, but most of them have already taken their chances in the depths. Isley, a woman whose life is already marred by the tragedy of being in wedlock to Jaspos, was the last person healed by Reef Talon before she fled. She's still cognate, but who knows how long that'll last. Poor woman. Sounds like the apprentice-master dynamic is more like a mutually beneficial arrangement rather than a power dynamic, unlike with the sages who straight up do have interns. To some extent, yes. I think it also might just be the modern perception that I have of the words playing onto it. It could be that the way it's treated in Tyranus is much less of a power relationship, but it's still kind of weird. Like, it's just one of those things where it's just kind of weird. The sleepless grow more detached from reason with each day they spend waking. I half imagine most went into the old walls just to find death at the talons of the Bane. If I lost the ability to rest, if my magic was taken from me, I'd probably do the same. So I have to imagine that we have to be able to learn the Gravelight Sigil from him at some point. Because Ebb still doesn't want to teach us. Yep, no, nothing there. So that means... Okay, hold on. Graven Ash, Bastard City, Twisted Rot, Barracks Condition. We need to talk to the Forgebound and Lethian's Crossing and talk and bring... Oh. Fuck. Really? I don't have enough... Ah! Game! I don't have enough character slots for this. Okay, so... okay, so we need to go to Lethian's Crossing either way for both of these quests. So let's go ahead and do that. Fucking hell, game. You literally made it so that we have to bring, like, every other character who isn't Barrack or Verse here. And then you only gave me 3 companion slots. You dipshits. Oh. Hills in Shadow interrupts your journey through the tears with a massive raised paw. Her nostrils flare, clawed fingers curling inwards. The Shadow Hunter raises her head as high as possible, smelling the wind, then lowers it to the ground to sniff the road. The East Woman sent here. She twists both directions, gesturing off the roads. Went uphill. Hills in Shadow track. Yep.
Let's go. You nod in approval as she falls to all fours, clambering up the hill with her nose low to the ground, sucking deep breaths through her nostrils. You follow, easily keeping pace, but sweating slightly from the exertion. You see the smoke of her campfire before you see the beast woman herself, and Kills in Shadow chuffs at the sign.
Why burn wood? Every hunter in Tyr see wood, see smoke.
He scratches her head. Investigate further. You follow the trail of smoke into the gully and find a relatively small beast woman seated on a log. She looks up and chuffs.
Not smell you,
He says by way of greeting, gesturing with an open paw.
sign smell strongest.
Her head tilts slightly to the side.
Human want trade?
Why is she here? You approach the small campsite and ask the beast woman what she's doing out here alone. She scratches her head.
Gen claim trade. Hunt for meat and fur. Search for shiny stones. Mostly trade. Trade all with any.
Kills in Shadow chuffs in distaste.
Beast woman hunts to eat. Only human hunt for barter.
Gemclaim rolls one of her shoulders.
Gemclaim like shiny stones. Like ring. Reminds Gemclaim of other times.
She shakes her head rapidly, then swats away the fly. I'll offer a trade. Beastwoman unrolls a large hide that contains a wide variety of goods.
Best meat. Best hide. All fresh from hunt.
Oh, and she also has some disfavored equipment, which means she probably killed some of them. Big shocker there. Yes, Bear, I'm sure you'll put the squeeze to her. I'm sure that's absolutely what you're implying. Horn leather spalder. Spalder shoulder can be sold to a merchant as spare parts. Oh, okay. So I just want the hide. There's really nothing else that I want. Works for me. Takes fucking forever to get out of the bastard tier. Jesus Christ. Come on, game. I know Lethian's Crossing has a lot of NPCs, but please open up. There we go. Now if I remember... Yeah, Melita. So that's who I need to talk to. And then we also need to go talk to the Forge Bound. Listen, you fucked a verse between her and Ebb. Ebb seems like the safer option. Look, I'm not big into the sadomasochism angle that much either, but if you're telling me you wouldn't want the woman who actually enjoys a little bit of pain to be the one raking her fingers across your back, I'm going to call you a liar. A slender woman picks through the produce in a carried sack. Her hands appear focused on finding a particular piece of fruit, but her eyes are intent on the other shoppers in the marketplace. A man passes by, accidentally dropping a pouch as he goes. She bends down to retrieve it and hands it back to him. Careful, you almost lost this. He takes the pouch with a smile and promptly walks away, clutching the pouch close to his side. The woman spots you approach as the man walks away. Greetings, how may I be of service? Ebb has more padding. Also the one significantly more flexible and younger. Oh, Jesus Christ. Are we really about to have a reach versus flexibility argument? Are we channeling our inner Garrus here, everybody? Jesus Christ. Clever. I almost didn't see you palm those rings into the pouch. Almost. I didn't realize I had an audience. Must be a sign I'm slowing down after all these years. She is actually Lethian's Crossing. Don't worry, nothing underhanded, just trying to repay a debt on the quiet. Certainly someone such as yourself understands the need for discretion. I'm not interested in trouble, but I do have some questions that need answering. Oh, this! Her hands briefly vanish within the folds of her skirt, only to reappear with the pouch in question. Scraps of parchment. I meant to deliver this to the court after acquiring it from a traveling sage. Magical in nature and certain knowledge forbidden by Kairos. Please take it. I'm only happy to do my part. She steps back and observes you, continue to maintain an air of pleasant attentiveness. Is there anything else I can do for you? You must be the peddler my friend mentioned. Melita, correct? That's me, but while I'm in town, Xantha will suffice. In my line of work, discretion is lesson number one. Though it seems someone else failed in their discretion, else you wouldn't be here. I need to find a sage by the name of Phoebe. Ooh, well, the fact that I know her, that's free. Current information costs extra. Information on friends costs extra. So this isn't the kind of question that I'm comfortable answering. What if you did it with Ebb in a pool of water? She worked her Tidecaster talent. I I think you know damn well what she's capable of, considering you're the one pitching this idea, Brown Bear. I think you're very well informed on what she would be doing. I can be trusted. Ask around town if you don't believe me. I don't buy grain with noble sentiments, but you are a fate binder. I can find it in me to be forthcoming. Well, I mean, Tenwin, you didn't have to say it out loud, but yes, most likely. Phoebe sends me the occasional missive. Last I heard from her, she doubled back towards the burning library, got herself the dangerous notion she could recover scripts from her old home. Though I think she's avoiding the actual library, seeing it as the epicenter of the devastation. She mentioned a place called Phlogiston. I think she means the village that used to be called Babbling Springs before the war, out in the contested lands. That's as much as I know about where to find her. You can't find her there. Maybe she's taking her chances at the library itself. What exactly are you here to peddle? I used to specialize in written things, but the schools are gone and there are most of my clients. These days I mostly deal in wineskins, shoes, and lamp oil. Nothing glamorous, but what else can people do during these times? Oh, we don't need to know anything else. Did she actually give me magic stuff? Does not appear. Or maybe we already knew the sigil anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Now we need to go check with the forge bound. They're over here. Hold on. That is a better look at the disfavored symbol than we've had before. And that definitively looks like some kind of actual sigil. Like a magic sigil. We need to find out more about that, I think. I just don't know if we will the way we've been going about this game. But I hope we do. Lohara. So, funny story. You have returned. Lohara turns to face you, her body covered head to toe in charred hues, chest rising and falling under the strain of labored breathing. There's always more demand for iron than there is time in the day. Removes a set of heavy canvas gloves and balls her fists, the joints of her fingers cracking. Oh, so this is where we can use these things. I brought you some azalith crystals. Perhaps you can put them into work. These crystals, Fate Binder, my forge bound, and I could surely create something of power from it. Thank you. She takes them from you with care, marveling at the uncut edges. I was wondering what we could do with these. I hope we get something good out of this. It is done, Fate Binder. As promised, I have forged you an item of great power. Okay. Ooh, it's a staff. Oh, it's a stone staff. Oh. That's not very good. This tap is topped with azalith and augmented by fragments of Karen's arcane power. It doesn't... Sad face. Oh, it's a staff. Oh, it's a stone staff. Yeah. I thank you for the attempt, though. I'm looking for some napping tools on behalf of one of your members, Jaspos. Jaspos? None of us have heard from him in some time. He certainly did his part to create the forge here, but there's little else for a napper to do after setting the foundation. I'm quite certain he was ordered to return to the north. She grabs an iron ingot and holds it aloft. This, on the other hand, is the vanguard of our work. My tour of duty ends only when there are no more enemies for my iron to kill. Where did Jaspos end up? He's in a remote settlement in the mountains bordering the north. Claims to be one of its founders. He seems to be working on it. She scratches her chin, smearing soot across them in short streaks. That's odd. Kairos gives us leeway in our duties, but a several-year absence would be frowned upon. The settlement would have to be producing something valuable to excuse his detour. I hope so for his sake. A smile creeps across her face and she offers a half-hearted shrug. But he is not my ward, and it is not my concern. Still, it's good to know that he's alive. How did you know of Jaspos? Only the superficials. He works in stone. I'm more keen on metal. We rarely compared notes. I knew he was arrogant, confident beyond his years and talent. Not to say that he was inept. No, far from it. But a few years of flaking chert does not make one Kairos' gift to the forge bound. Does Jaspos have any associates still around? Once this place was built, most of the nappers and other such were sent home. I know of his supervisor was Cassandra, a fellow master of napping. She was sent home as well. She's a bit on in years, not quite fit for the long walk back, so I think she's currently joining a boat ride home. Did the stone nappers leave behind any of their tools? Where would I find them? I honestly have no idea what inventory the stonesmiths kept with them.
All of our stoneworkers left long ago. A few of them might have returned north by ocean travel, which means most first traveling to the southern coastline. I imagine they're probably gone by now. If you need those tools, I can't imagine they had room on the galley to take all of their sledgehammers. Were I you, I'd ask around for a Cassandra, since she's likely on a boat home right now. See if some local was drafted to attend her or haul her stuff. Maybe they inherited some of her excess belongings she couldn't take on the boat. Aside from that, well, I suppose in the abstract I could have someone cast a few chisels and hammers, but if you're looking for tools made by and for the stone experts, South Haven is your best bet short of slogging it back to Fort Resolution. Okay. Was not expecting to be sent on such a wild goose chase already for these quests, but I guess I cast a rock. Yeah. I don't know. This DLC is not what I expected so far. I don't know what I was expecting, but hidden settlement with the second last tide caller, but also with some Kairos loyalists who are willing to just build out a better life is not what I was expecting. Resident Field. It's a resolve. Clear mind. Recovery time. Very nice. Let me see here. South Haven. All the way down here. And then there's also Phlogiston. Why wouldn't it just teleport us there? You'd think that would be faster. Alright, whatever. Let's head down this way. Find Cassandra. Hello, Fatebinder. Welcome to South Haven. A middle-aged man nods to you, clutching a small apple crate in one arm, a well-worn scrap of parchment poking out of his bald fist. Charcoal tally marks visible on exposed surface. Well met, traveler. Sorry, I was counting out these for Hermod and didn't see you coming. Welcome to South Haven. You're the Fatebinder, aren't you? The one that claimed the mountain spire. Not every day we get such an esteemed visitor. As he awkwardly bows, several apples fall out of his crate and bounce out of his hands, rolling past your feet. Apologies. He sets the container down. Is there something I can do for you? I'm not familiar with South Haven. Tell me of it. Well, I'm not sure what's really all that worthy of note. He scratches his chin, inadvertently smudging it with charcoal. We have the local river and the sea nearby, and live by what they bring us on the good seasons. We trade for what we don't have when our luck dries up. If you're bored already, good. I think Kairos' forces were too bored as well and just ignored us. Some recruiters from the chorus came in a few years back and rounded up some folks who were out in the field. I think they took Told's boy, and also the Corba twins, but that was the worst of it. I've heard plenty of stories from elsewhere in the tiers, 3 folk gone while a tragedy is nothing compared to what they pulled off elsewhere. We're fortunate, no denying that. What do you do here? Oh, me? I'm nobody important, Fatebinder. I never took to a particular trade, and I'm not a man of letters. I just help out where I can. He gestures to the crates behind him. I count the produce for Hermod. He lets me take a few fruits when I'm done. His words are interrupted by a rhythmic clanging of hammers against metal. He turns to look at its source atop a nearby rooftop, exposing a gap-toothed grin. And of course, the forge-bound always need fresh water, so I pump it for them from time to time. I'm sure Cassandra appreciates that. How did this village end up with its own forge-bound? Oh, their arrival was the biggest change we've experienced in a long time. Nearly 2 years now? The guarded entourage came to town. We all thought we were being invaded, but nope, just a bunch of craftsmen looking for passage out of a port. When they arrived, they were all ill with fever and needed to rest. Since old Lyonis knocked off, we let the forge-bound use her home. We all assumed it'd be temporary, but either the ship they meant to board sank, or they had a change of plans. A span later, the forge-bound was still here, making themselves at home. Didn't hurt the villagers here none. In fact, we were fascinated by their crafting magic. The youngsters in the village all lined up for lessons, and, well, Kairos be praised, they saw fit to tutor some of them. They've been awful helpful. Spears and arrowheads for the hunters, plows for the fields, fishhooks for the rivers, even a hearth or two for those cold nights. They also helped keep us safe and stand watch over the town. Were I younger, I'd definitely ask them to train me. Cassandra's almost always at work, just on the roof of the building behind me. She's a busy woman, I'm sure, but she'll have time for you, Fatebinder. What do you know about this Cassandra? I cast men butt crack, yes. Testicular torsion. I cast 8 months pregnant. I cast 9 months pregnant. Ah! I do like that short. That's fucking hilarious. She's incredible. She's no spring chicken, but she's got to split a boulder better than any man in the village. You can tell her apprentices respect her just by the way they look at her. Everyone in the village feels the same way. If she speaks, we take notice. She is a bit intimidating, though. I wanted to give her a suggestion about some stone arrowheads she fashioned, but she looked real angry when I approached her. She was yelling at one of her students, and another was on fire or something, so my timing was poor. Oh, you know, one of them was just on fire. There's lots of love to learn from her, but I'm too old to be taken seriously as a candidate.
Interesting. So we'll definitely need to swing by there. Hides. Take more hides. Hides are good. What else have we got down here? Ooh, a dagger. Bronze dagger. Okay. Okay. Nothing down here. Erasmus. Why do I feel like that name is familiar? Oh, I need to take another drink of water. The young man squints at the bottles in front of him, picking them up, shaking them, and setting them down, dissatisfied after every examination. Was it fennel pollen? Rhubarb root? He catches sight of you, and stops his search. Pardon, traveler. Something I can do for you. What are you looking for? My wife took fever recently, burning temples and an awful rash. She's a tough one, but I wanted to get her some medicine. I saw that boiled silverthorn works well, but there's a few rings too many for me, so I'm hoping for an alternative. Erasmus is a real name of a Catholic saint. I have a friend who defaults to that name for his fantasy characters. Well, I could have sworn I'd heard it in this game was more what I was referring to, but I think I'm mistaken. Then you'll want elderbark. It's almost as potent as silverthorn, but a lot more plentiful. You'll probably buy it for a song. Thank you. It's very kind of you. I was quite worried, and these herbs will really help. Is there anything else I can help with? It's the least I could do. I do have some questions about the people in town. Of course. Thanks to you, I can spare a moment before getting these herbs back to my wife. What would you like to know? What do you think of the Forgebound? No qualms from me. I was a bit nervous when they first moved into town, of course. You have to understand, we fared better than most during the conquest. Kairos' war raged on elsewhere, so none of his armies marched here through South Haven. But we knew if the Forgebound would attract attention from the Archons or the Brotherhood. They proved me wrong, though. Nobody attacked the village after they arrived, and when Cassandra isn't training them, the Forgebound help out wherever they can. Can't say I'm a fan of the curfew they've started enforcing, but it's a fair trade for their servants. A curfew? Yes, Cassandra demanded it. I guess the Forgebound dealt with some raiders on their journeys here and don't ever want to be caught unaware again. It is a hassle, but honestly I'd rather have them here, not like I need to be wandering around in the dark anyways. Aside from a few folk, most of us stay indoors during the evening. Cassandra's apprentices keep an eye out for intruders, and after a full day's work, too, theirs is not an easy trade. Do you have any opinions about this Cassandra? Well, I have no issue with her, truth be told. Never really spoken with her. You can hear her barking orders at the apprentices all hours of the day. I never felt comfortable interrupting their sessions, though. I know some folks like Caperton about them from time to time. Perhaps you should ask him. Tell me about Caperton. Oh, Caperton's been in South Haven for a long time. Everyone knows him. He's a simple man, but he's about as good-hearted as they come. My father grew up with him right here. Said he's always been like that. Caperton doesn't have a trade to speak of other than helping others. He'd probably go out and pick the herbs for me if I asked. He likes to stay near the village entrance to direct travelers. Since he's always assisting folks in the Forgebound, he's one of the few that are allowed to wander about during evening curfews. Something is going to happen here. There's no way it isn't. You don't talk up this guy about being the nice. Either he's doing something shady, or the guy's about to die and we're going to have a murder mystery on our hands or something. He glances at the Forgebound workers with a knowing smile. Of course, everyone knows that he's smitten by their leader, finds every excuse to be close to the Forgebound, and every excuse to avoid speaking with Cassandra. He's an old man with a child's heart. Interesting. Oh my god, there's so... It has occurred to me, we have done nothing but talk to NPCs for 2.5 hours now. You see a tall figure with a patchwork sash of animal pelts slung across her shoulder. The skin of her sunburnt face melds with a pair of naturally flushed, freckled cheeks. She speaks energetically to two other villagers, animated in her depiction of a recent hunt. I had to crawl real low through the bush. Those critters have eyes like eagles that are deaf to their own farts. I got close enough to see its nose wriggling in the air. They can actually feel you coming, by the way, but it was too late. One swift thrust later, it turned into dinner. She hears you approaching and spins around. Spear held out playfully. Aha! Who goes there? Her laugh is hearty, but ends abruptly as she takes note of your appearance. Apologies, Fatefinder. I know of you were visiting us. Forgive the jest. I've been burdened with an overabundance of energy since childhood. One way or another, it just comes out. She offers a purposely awkward curtsy. What can I do for you? I want to know about the Forgebound here. Fine folk, as far as I'm concerned. Everyone around here's better off with them. Cassandra and her students keep me supplied with fresh spear tips and arrowheads. My life's never been easier. They spend most of their time in training, though. I think that's the real reason they're here, to pass on secrets from master to pupil in a safe space. I suppose in a Bronze Age civilization, there wouldn't really be much difference between a well-crafted stone arrowhead and a bronze arrowhead, and probably be a hell of a lot cheaper, even if you were using a magical skill to nap the stone properly in order to make it as strong and capable as possible. For the average rural hunter, there wouldn't really be any call to get metal arrowheads. They wouldn't really need it.
And if she only has a single spear, that one can be made out of bronze and she'd be able to save money on the rest of her equipment. Cassandra's a hard ass in more ways than one, but her students are better off. They certainly make short work of any of our requests. Nails, hooks, blades, whatever you can think of. Only old Lycus doesn't take too kindly to their presence, but that's because he's a half-rate smith whose blades are as limp as he is in the sack. Anyway, I like them. I'm not too wild about the curfew they've started demanding, but Cassandra insists it's for our safety. I haven't seen any Brotherhood or bandits while out on my hunt, so it's not like we're less safe because of it. With a toothy grin, Hyacinth offers a friendly wink as you approach. It is a fine day, though, Fatebinder. Is there anything else you need? What do you think of Cassandra? Tough nut to crack. She's been pounding steel for so long that she's forgotten how to hang up the hammer and enjoy the pursuits. I feel like, given the nature of this world, that might have been a miswrite. As far as we can tell, the disfavored only have iron. They don't have actual steel yet. Or they might have very primitive steel. So it seems weird that a random villager would know about steel in the middle of nowhere. I just first got to know her when we got to talking about hunting implement. I think she saw something in my enthusiasm for it all. We steadily become friends. She's a much different person when she unwinds. Not that there's anything wrong with having a tough exterior. She's a master of napping, after all. You gotta maintain appearances. Cassandra's gravelight tools seem unique. Any chance she'd part gravelight tools? How did we find out about that? Doubt it. All she ever goes on is chisels, moils, flails, tempers. You know, there's so much to know about wedges with handles. If you need tools, you ask her. I bet she'll make them for you just to show off what she can do. But her tools? Oh, seriously. Those are probably the only thing in the world she genuinely loves. How much you want to bet those ghostlight tools are actually fucking our friend back up in the bastard's wounds? Wouldn't surprise me. You're a third-rate smith with a fourth-rate forge. Anybody else we can talk to down here, or is that it for this part of the town? Looks like that's it. Alright, let's head upside. Nicodemus. Sandra, master of napping. Some supplies. Water skin. A barrel-chested man surveys the area with a stern expression. Eyeing you nonchalantly as you approach, a large horseshoe mustache traces the top of his mouth before racing down to his chin. When he speaks, the bristles nearly mask his lips. Well met, Fatebinder. What do you need? Who are you? Nicodemus. Sandra's second. I have a few seasons out of my belt, unlike these pups in the forge. Glances aside way. He's back towards the work area. I work over things because Cassandra has better things to do, which is always. What do you need? What can you tell me about her? She's tough, but fair. Cassandra knows that teaching and napping are both acts of reduction. In the case of teaching, one chips away at ignorance. Some don't like her approach. Such fools are not meant for the guild. Why are the forge bound here? You'll have to ask Cassandra. She gives the orders. No point in me guessing at her meaning. Well, you are not very helpful. A small group of forge-bound stand in conference around an older, gray-haired woman. Blue tattoos streak down from her hairline, coming to rest upon a pair of eyebrows permanently fixed in a severe expression. She grasps a hunk of jasper and strikes it several times with a sharp piece of obsidian. The motion should feel rhythmic as you work the stone, mundane as breath. Her sinewy biceps contract to control the force from each impact, keeping the jasper remarkably still. Listen to your senses. If the shape in your mind doesn't feel inevitable, you're wasting your strength and my time. Noticing your approach, she halts her demonstration and waves off the apprentices. We'll continue later. Fateminder, Cassandra, master of napping, forge-bound present here are in my charge. She grants you a perfunctory nod. I know your time is limited, and South Haven is far too remote for this meeting to be chance. What can I do for you? I must ask, how did you end up here in South Haven? Master of napping, it is my duty to build the forges that keep the others occupied. Bronze and iron are the guild's trademark, but stone is its foundation. When Kairos' conquest began, my kin followed the armies into the tiers, and I led the efforts to build up Lethian's Crossing. Diamond, welcome, welcome. Good to see you, buddy. We are currently at 2.5 hours into a non-stop talking to NPCs fest for this episode. I was really hoping there'd be at least some action, but it does not appear that that is going to happen. We're probably going to have to save that for Sunday. Oh, my throat. Ugh. With our task at the crossing complete, there was naught to do but return home. I barely made the long march south, so I decided to head towards the closest port. But just here, and planned to catch a boat back home. But the journey here was difficult. Brotherhood bandits ambushed us multiple times on the road. Her eyes narrow at the memory, and she rubs the left side of her abdomen. They fancied our implements and thought them fair payment for use of the road. I refuse, and we brained them with our hammers. She cracks her neck with a quick tilt of her head. I cracked a rib or three, and some others in the party were wounded.
Resting in South Haven seemed wise. The locals were overly accommodating, and I started wondering if I'd even live through the sea voyage home. So I decided to set up shop and teach here. Our temporary stay became rather permanent. Did someone really describe Cassandra as being too old for a long walk? Yeah, that was kind of the vibe Lahara gave, but I think that might just be more Lahara looking down on the stone workers within the guild rather than anything else. Fatebinder, is there something else you needed? You know of a man named Caperton? Oh, Caperton, for fuck's sake. He rolls her eyes in a sudden loss of composure. A love-sick cub if I've ever seen one. He's helpful with hauling and odd jobs, but enough with his endless pining. Not that he's ever experienced love, as best as I could tell. He's well past fathering age, but probably couldn't find a vagina in a brothel. Sorry I couldn't be here for previous streams. Life things. Hey, don't need to apologize, Diamond. It's just good to see you here now. It's all good, man. And don't forget, if you do miss anything, everything gets uploaded onto my YouTube channel, which should be linked somewhere down below in the About section. So if you need to catch up on anything, you can always check out stuff there. Please, by all means, please do. He mostly keeps his affections to himself, thankfully. He's harmless and always compliant if you yell loudly enough. Do you fancy spineless men? Have at him. You have hair. I thought all Forgebound shaved their heads. She permits a smirk for the briefest of moments. I shave my head for nearly every day of my life. I think I've earned a reprieve. She lightly smacks the back of an apprentice's head as he kneels to work. These idiots don't get the luxury. We have these traditions for a reason. If you waded into a forge fire all day, you know better than to grow a mop of wick out of your head. I thought Jaspos was master of napping. Jaspos? I thought officers of the court would be better informed, Fatebinder. There can be only one master of napping at a time. I'm not a corpse yet, despite the wishes of my apprentice. The title remains with me. Oh, so Jaspos is a fucking liar. Well, this is interesting. I'm starting to lead more towards Wagstaff's interpretation of everything that's been going on. Again, I'm sure Jaspos is helping, but he's also being an asshole. So what rank does Jaspos hold if he's not a master? Why are we even talking about Jaspos? The only title that man is fit to wear is the Master of Arrogance. True, dutiful enough student. I've heard the boasts he's made to my apprentices in private. He learned quickly, I'll give him that, but he's a long way off from attaining any level of mastery. It takes over a decade of consistently impressive work before the guild would ever allow the title of master to be bandied about. If I drop dead tomorrow, there are a dozen others more qualified to inherit my title. She lets out a long sigh, her eyes narrowing as her upper lip twitches. What in the hells gave you the notion that Jaspos is the master of napping? Jaspos has claimed that title for himself. Motherfucker! She takes a hammer and smashes it against a nearby wall, sending fragments of it flying. The gall of that man! I would cave his head in as an example were he here. She strikes the wall again for good measure. I have chisels older than him. He is far too young for such a rank. Of course he had potential. I wouldn't instruct anyone who doesn't. But he seeks approval in people rather than his own craft. Hardly a master's mindset. Oh, the guild will act on this. Making a false claim such as this is a serious offense. As soon as I can, I will pen a missive to my superiors, and his arrogance will be disciplined. Nonetheless, I am here to retrieve his tools. His tools? What sort of nonsense is this? Good question. I'm starting to suspect, based on your reaction, that I've been duped, and I'm guessing that the only tools here are yours. To commemorate my 50 years of service with the guild, Lady Zedenya made me a tool set of the most exquisite craftsmanship. No doubt that is what Jaspos had in mind. After we left Lethian's Crossing, I noticed the set was incomplete. Several key hammers and chisels, one of my best loops, all missing. At the time, I assumed the fault lay with me. The way to South Haven wasn't without its troubles. I assumed I misplaced them during the shuffle. I wouldn't have guessed that that bastard would steal from me. From his own master. If my knees were still good for sprinting, I'd chase down that ungrateful rake and pulverize his skeleton one bone at a fucking time. Her rage seems to vanish with a shrug. And I suppose making tools is what I do best. Not like I can't replace what was lost, but those tools were a gift. And not even I can fashion sentimentality out of rock. I'm honestly not sure how I can help you with this situation, Fatebinder. What makes these tools so special? Zedenya herself fashioned them as part of a series of works inspired by our pre-war study into the Tidecasters and their ways. She took it upon herself to spend a year working only with crystals and metals that the casters used in their designs. My tools were some of the finest pieces that came from that year of experimentation. I try not to make a big deal about having tools inspired by Tearsmen. but they are the finest I've ever used. I guess the idea is that some of the Moonlight's energy remains trapped in the business end of the tools. All I know is that with them in hand, I work faster with more precision and strength. In truth, I could do fine with lesser tools. Much as I adore the set Zedenya made for me, nobody can make a handle to fit my hand quite like I do. She picks up a small hammer, twirling it in her hand. But if Jaspos thinks he can claim the rest of my tools and pretend to greatness, that ungrateful wretch is dead to me. If my oh, that's the same line. I misunderstood the situation, my lady. The tools are rightfully yours, and I will work to remedy this. Thank you, Fatebinder. She visibly relaxes, as do several of her apprentices who return to their duties. I'm glad we could clear up this misunderstanding, and I am sorry that one of our own has deceived you. As his instructor, I should have spotted the flaw in his scruples. The shame is mine. He was not cleft from our ranks sooner. Yeah, so I'm really starting to lean towards Wagstaff being the better choice of leading that settlement, because holy fuck, Jaspos, you suck at this. Nothing I can change with you having talked to them, so I guess that's it for here. That is it, right? Hold on. Yes, return to Jaspos. Fuck you, Jaspos, you lying sack of shit. If you had told me the truth, maybe I'd have tried to convince her to give us some tools, but no. I'm gonna hold off on making horny comments about Cassandra until I'm well out of earshot, but still would. Yes, we get it, Lord Brambo. You like older women with a little bit of gray in their hair. I've noticed the pattern. Oh my god, it takes forever to get over there. Traveling across the tiers would take even longer without these magical teleporting places. Oh, that's a chorus camp in the loading screen. I can't imagine this is going to go well. Oh, look, a tree is on fire. Maybe we'll actually get some action here. Oh, dear. Oh. A remarkable sigil of strength. Oh, we already found that. Oh boy, chorus gibbet, people. Maybe we might actually get some action today. We might have at least one combat encounter after 3 hours almost. Sup? Come closer, chum. Soldier twirls his axe as he calls out to you. Let's have a good look at you. The chorus warrior scans you from head to toe, twirling his axe and puffing up his chest as he looks you over. Boss said we're only free to kill disfavored, but you come here for a fight, we can oblige. What brings you to this shit stain? Who's in charge here? That'd be Kras Kalia. She's the only one that's looking like she's having a shittier time than everyone else. Look for the blood chanter on the rooftop north of here. No doubt she's contemplating whether or not our problems can be solved with, I don't know, fire. Ready for an unforgettable luncheon? I don't think so. I'm here for a sage named Phoebe. Oh, you'd be in luck. We captured a few that were lurking in the area, but I didn't pay attention to names. When you're trying to interrogate them, details like that feel secondary. Talk to the boss. Did you learn anything from the sages? Isn't the sort of thing I'd be sharing with outsiders. Talk to Kras. I care so much. What's your role in the gang? Me, I'm the fun one. Kalia makes the decisions. I get to enforce them. When things are quiet, I'm the huntsmaster, since none of these jolly idiots can discern deer spoor from dog shit. Needle toe. Please tell me they did not give all of these people fucking Oh my god, they did. A short, shifty-eyed man puffs up his chest as you approach. Didn't expect to see many visitors out here. What do you need? What do you know of the captured sages? I only know we're under orders to nab them and interrogate them. Kras Kalia is the only one who could tell you for sure why. What do you do in the gang? I'm the eyes and ears. I've been pulling scout duty since we lost Shrill Tantrum to the disfavored. When I'm not watching over the gang, I'm watching over this one. He points to the woman near him. Contusion here is mine. Hands off. She's a little odd since her injury, but she's still in there. Mostly. Oh, God. Please tell me she doesn't have brain damage. A tall, wiry woman peers inherently at a scrap of parchment in her hand, tracing the contours of an elaborate drawing with her finger. Like tree, but prettier. She giggles approvingly at its contents, scratching the area around a noticeable dent in her forehead. As you approach, she crumples up the drawing and stuffs it in her shirt. You friend? I suppose that I'm an ally of the chorus. She grins and nods. Good, good. No need to kill you then. Not in the mood for killing right now. What you want? What happened to your forehead? She taps at her forehead, A confused expression spreads across her face as she hunts around for something on her face, oblivious to the injury. What you mean? Do I make a mess again? She doesn't have any memory of the incident. I'm just lucky to still have her. What do you do in this game? Warrior, toughest of the crew, needle toe husband, Callie a boss, Skinner's little boss, Ragwort cooks, gang's family. And how long have you and Needle Toe been together? What you mean, Needle is mate for life? Is that long? Says we're together forever. Maybe someday we'll scrape, he said. Honey, don't tell everything to the stranger. He leans in to grab her arm, blushing as he does. I told her someday we'll scrape together enough rings to afford some real food for a change. Scrape? Did you mean escape? Yeah, what he said. She's been off since the injury. I'm lucky I still have her. Strangeness at all. I'm not going to risk that by escaping. That's nonsense. What's that parchment you're playing with? Pretty drawing. Skinner plays with sages and said Sage is so happy she gave drawing as gift. He holds out the wrinkled parchment which contains a prominent sigil and many paragraphs of scholarly exposition. Yeah. Like, I'm even willing to buy that their relationship was more, normal before she got injured, but it's still very weird. Like, he's also a chorus member, so there's always that inkling of like, this feels like something could be going wrong. The drawing looks faded. Here, let me work on that for you. You make nice drawing for me? Ooh, we got the sigil of piercing ascent. You produce a pen and clean parchment. As she hands you the scroll, you copy the sigil precisely, adding minor embellishments to exaggerate the features. Contusion claps excitedly as you add the flourishes. She gazes adoringly at her new gift. You tuck the now unwanted scroll in your pack. Sweet. Do we know this one already? We do know this one already. Oh well, still. More sigils, more lore. Give me more. More. Also, can't you heal her, I wonder? It does seem like healing magic is something that has to be applied very soon after the injury, or there's no chance of, like, fixing everything. So it wouldn't surprise me if, yes, if someone had been on hand to cast healing magic the second she got the hit to the head, she might have been fine. But because it's now settled in, her body would just heal to this point instead. So it's probably something. Can't regenerate flesh from nothing, especially complex organs like a brain.
Can't do
that too. Rascalia, Phobia in the robes, Ragwort. Ooh, yeah, more supplies. Take that. The chorus warrior halts her work of grinding spices with a mortar and pestle as you approach. The sharp, pungent smells of herbs and oils stand out over the prevailing smell of char in the village. You need something? Talia speaks for the gang. You probably want to have words with her instead. What is this about captive sages? I scarcely had words with him, which suits me fine. She jerks her head towards Skinner. He's our torture enthusiast. Speak with him. What's your role in the gang? Me? I just do what Callia says, try not to get in the way. Most of these louts can't smell over their own stink, so the honor of cooking falls to me. She wipes her nose across her arm before returning to the work of grinding the mortar and pestle. Can't complain. Insulates me from the abuse. Even Skinner knows better than to mistreat the person who prepares the food. Walks past the leader, talks to an underling right behind them. Yeah. A tall, heavily scarred blood chanter stands before 3 bound and bloodied sages. She raises her palm, bright and orange with an unusual heat, and presses it to one of the captive's eyes. His agonized screams blend together with the hiss of cooking flesh, ending only after he slumps over, passed out. She hears you approach and turns around, panting slightly from exertion. Kairos, fetid merkin. A fate binder out here of all places. He winces briefly, patting a tightly wound bandage covering her ribs. I know the voices of Narat wants your eviscerated heart, but I've got no interest trying to collect, not when I have work to do. I prefer my gang save our strength to fight the disfavored, so keep your weapons lowered and we'll do the same. What do you want? How'd you get that wound? Let my guard down. I didn't watch my flank, got slashed in the rib by some runt sage and his ridiculous quill knife. She grimaces as she adjusts the bandages around her midsection. Wow, we can just fucking slice right into her. I need to speak with the sages. Fat chance, Fatebinder. I respect your rights as Tunan's lapdog up to a point. She jabs a finger at a shivering, blood-stained sage. Your title is the only thing that separates you from these traitors. Narat will drive a spike up my ass if he learns that I let you talk to them. No fucking way. What were the sages doing here when you found them? Nothing seems to arouse these sages more than the idea of reclaiming their precious knowledge.
No doubt they meant to sneak into the library. Otherwise, why trudge through this sad eyesore of a countryside? They aren't talking, though. Not that these sages could ever get past our garrison unless they were taking a different route. They may be soft, but they're not idiots. They're up to something, and I'll find out. I can take out my aggression on you or the sages. Have a preference? She grips her staff tightly and studies you intently. Shit, if you had asked so nicely in the beginning, we could have saved a lot of time. She turns and delivers a kick to Phoebe's rib. Have at her. The fuck do I care? She's all yours. Let's see if you can do better than my men. They've all had a go at Phoebe, maybe to see who can get that bookworm to say anything of worth first. She rolls her eyes. Ugh. More water. Oh, there we go. Another interrogator. Jesus. Brown Bear's eating well today. We got not one, not two, but 3 characters that are female with white hair. Jesus Christ. Injured and restrained, the middle-aged woman manages a weak smile between swollen and blood-caked lips. Through cuts and burns run the length of her body, her quiet composure grants her a surprising measure of dignity. Apologies if I'm running short on screams. She chuckles, wincing from the pain. No matter how many times I try to divulge all that I know, you seem to think I'm hiding more. So be it. We'll play this little game once more. Ask your questions. Answer my question, then we'll discuss your fate. I don't suppose you'll be setting me free if I answer your question. That depends on the cooperation. She strains to hold her head up high, cracking the slightest of smiles. I suppose I'm in no position to decline. Cranes her head upwards and awaits your questions with belabored breaths. What were you doing here? Foraging, trying to find food to survive. Since the Edict of Flame, we've been homeless and nomadic. And I can't bring myself to wander too far from the library. It still feels like the center of Taratus for me. Why did you come to this village specifically? When you warned our people of the Edict of Fire, many of my peers grabbed whatever they could and fled. Whatever texts made it out now are all we have of our old lives. I know some survivors passed through this village. It seemed plausible they would stash something here, so I stopped to investigate. The chorus found me, and the beatings began. So you're telling me that my warning simply led to you committing acts of hoarding forbidden knowledge. I thought more as recovering what was ours. There was no criminal intent. The truth is, I stashed some old writings in this village years before the war. I came back to recover the text, but someone beat me to it. My stash was already looted. To add insult to injury, these chorus goons found me. My peers all suffered because I insisted on gathering up old things, and it was a foolish error. He gestured towards the other stages. So if those were the writings that Wagstaff wanted, then she doesn't know where they are, and that also means she doesn't know that he's still alive. What sort of texts were you here to recover? Poetry, almanac, sentimental things. I can't imagine such things would interest you. You're right. I was hoping to hear that you had hidden away some research into some rogue archon known only to the Tearsmen. Her eyes light up at your comment. Not an unknown archon, but she bows her head and falls silent. Go ahead. Finish that thought. My work was in its earlier stages. I was exploring an adaptation of old Tidecaster magic. I was working with an expression that allowed earth and alloys to be made liquid, then back into solid. Oh. I thought this aqueous metallurgy, as I call it, could change the world of artifice as we know it. All I've done with the magic is ruin perfectly good trinkets. This magic is doomed to be little more than a novelty. It was here in this village, but someone found it before... Clears her throat. No more playing coy. It's still here. How about this? You kill my captors, and I swear by Kairos that I will walk out of here alive. I will tell you where it's hidden. This might get us what we need to know for the Ghostlight sigil. I'm no friend of the chorus. And from the sound of it, she has no knowledge that Wagstaff has any fucking clue that either of them are still alive. Like, hold on, stretch. Oh, sorry about that. Like, Wagstaff is convinced that she's going to bring the world down on top of him, but she is so far removed from everything going on with him that I don't see how we can justify killing her. Also, she's offering me magical knowledge. Consider them dead. Swear by Kairos that I leave this place alive, or you will have naught but silence from me. I swear by Kairos, you will leave this place alive. Acceptable arrangement. You'll have what you want upon your return.
You have no...
Oh, I was hoping we'd get to talk to her again and immediately use the shank her in the ribs option. Guys, where are you going? Please attack the people that are already here.
I need to try to attack her. This isn't working.
There we go. All right, they're all bunched up. Go ahead and give me... Smack, 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 smack. Now go ahead and give me ice. Now go ahead and give me fire. Set them all on fire. Oh my god, look at the size of this AoE. Oh yes, hit them all. I swear to god, how did she pick up a wound? Oh. I fucking hate this game sometimes.
I got it.
Searing palm.
I got it.
Nice palm. Will you die, please? I've already set you on fire. There we go. Did you guys seriously not drop anything? Okay, a whetstone. I'll whoop-de-fucking do. How does she keep getting... Ooh, the Edict of Fire. Plus 15 to all magic skills, plus 15 to control fire, but empowered the Bane. Holy shit, does that mean... My control fire is at 135. Holy fuck. Oh, that's good. You're back. Have you managed to secure our freedom? The chorus or no more? I can scarcely believe that, Fatebinder. We could ever be free of the chorus and it would help us. As far as I'm concerned, they're both minor miracles. Thank you for my life, though feel free to spread the word that I'm a corpse. Life might be easier that way. As for my writings, they're in a smashed chest just to the southwest, hidden between a burnt tree and the carcass of a wagon. She slowly picks herself up, readying herself for the long march. Safe travels. Imagine getting to watch you work. Your extensive knowledge of sigils probably made Phoebe soak her britches. Maybe. For the sages, I have to imagine that just running into someone who's that skilled with magic is just like, oh, fuck yes. Did the rest of them leave? Did we actually... Yeah, I guess they all came up to fight us. Strange. It felt like we were further away and that they would have taken longer to get through here. There we go. The Book of Aqueous Metallurgy. Extensive information regarding how to mix Forge-bound and Tidecaster magic together in beneficial ways. Oh, is this going to be the start of we should convince the two dipshits who are running the settlement to actually work together rather than fighting each other? Because that would be nice. Can't compete with that. All yours, Savani. I don't know. I don't think we've encountered a sage that I'd want to fuck right now. I'm sure Phoebe is nice and all, but that's not really what I'm looking for. Plus, I already got with Verse, so, you know, I'm fine with that. Gonna rest before you go in? I probably should have, but we're very close to the end of the session today, so I honestly don't care. I'm just thankful we actually had at least one combat encounter. We'll go ahead and turn his in.
Fatebinder, what else do you need of me?
I have news regarding Phoebe.
Have it? Well, out with it. What happened?
Here's the Tome of Aqueous Metallurgy you were really after.
You found it. Excellent.
Mike's snatches the tome with his hands.
I feared this knowledge was lost. Thank you. I assume the deed is done. I trust Phoebe is no more.
So you don't deny it's the research notes you wanted all along. Come on, Wagstaff. You don't have to falsify pretense to get me on board with killing a sage. I suppose that Ebb is going along with our lie, so that will make it very easy to sell this story. Combat is a generous term for what that was. True, it was mainly just setting a bunch of people on fire and watching them flail about awkwardly. The Tidecaster averts his gaze with a huff.
Considering you spared us trespassers, there were decent odds you'd spare Phoebe. I figured she'd hand you her writings to purchase her freedom, so you'd get all merciful on me, but at least end up with the lore I need to protect my fellows. So, just what did you do with Phoebe?
No, you know what? Our character just straight up does not lie. Like, I think I don't think we've picked one fucking lie in this entire game so far. No, I spared her.
I see, that's not what I requested, but it's hard to be angry when you've brought me such a treasure. Armed with this knowledge, perhaps I could better defend the wound, so I suppose I could care a bit less that she's out there knowing what she knows. Fine, Fatebinder, I thought your arrival would lead us to ruin, but instead you've blessed us with your service. You have my thanks. There's more I wish to discuss, but my agents tell me you're working with Jaspos. He coughs at the use of the name. Should you conclude your business with the self-serving stone savant, come speak with me and we'll discuss things further. Interesting that that still did not gain any renown with him. Well, we got that handled at least. Nothing from you. Thought maybe she'd have something to talk about. Let's go over here. Did he really just want her dead out of pettiness? I think it was a pettiness combined with being a bit properly paranoid, that kind of thing. Oh, Fatebinder, do you have a moment? Though she looked directly at you a moment earlier, the Forgebound's gaze now appears unfocused and soft, fixated upon nothing in particular. Your footsteps break her silent reverie as she returns to the present with a quick shake of her head. Fatebinder, sorry, I'm easily distracted these days, it seems. Was there something? You wanted to talk to me. I hope I'm not troubling you over nothing. Insipid moniker is Wagstaff's prime lackey, or apprentice, depending on how you perspective. She's been heading into the old walls in the dead of night, every night. I would have dismissed it if not for the fact that she's taken woundkin with her on occasion, none of which have returned. How did you discover this? I've been really into my work, lost in the chisel, I guess, finding myself up most of the wound is asleep. Not every task needs a workbench, so I take my chert, I take my grit, and I go for a stroll. Then I see insipid moniker. If it were just one night, then, well, who cares, but I'll look into this. I realize how nosy this makes me sound, but I notice she's pretty habitual about her jaunts. Maybe wait until the proper hour or she'll see you and you'll scare her away, assuming she has something to hide. I'll come back later. We'll need to finish up this other quest first. Fatebinder, you've returned. Was there something else you needed? I decided not to take back your tools. His smile vanishes and replaced with a mask of carefully suppressed rage. Fatebinder, that news is beyond displeasing to me. I thought the tools made for modest requests. I don't see a way for us to forge on ahead. He slams his sledgehammer to a nearby rock, pulverizing it beyond any use. You'll excuse me, Fatebinder. The settlers have needs I must attend. Really? We can't call him out? That's kind of bullshit. We should be able to call him out on that. Hold on, I want to go see if Insipid Moniker will talk to us first, now that we know this. Oh god, I have to go get Lantry to talk to the Sage at some point. Fuck! Fatebinder, nope, we can't talk to her. It's strange. We also just might do it where I leave Kills in Shadow. But Kills in Shadow probably has a unique conversation with the fucking, we'll probably find Reef Talon and we'll have to talk to her there. God damn it! I don't have enough character slots for this shit. Alright, let's see where this goes. Leave Sierra and you can have her join later. She's not tied to the DLC. But she had that thing right at the beginning where she was looking for more stone fragments from Cairn. So that has me concerned that she also has story stuff here. Let me do a hard save here, just in case. If we get involved in something that I can't save in the middle of. I'm ready to track her. Follow Insipid Moniker. That means she probably went... Don't recall her having stuff in my memory is the best. As I said, there was something right when we entered the cave that led into this area where she's like, oh my god, Cairn left this for me because I can hear the song. And I'm just like, oh, okay, so that's why we wanted to bring Siren. And then it's like, oh, no, wait. Where the fuck did she go? Oh, she's over here. Fucking hell. Probably should have checked the map before I did any of that. But yeah, if we can, I guess we could drop Siren and take Lantry instead. I don't know. We'll figure that out for next session, because right now we're dealing with this. Okay, that's the same kind of shit that is on our spires. Like, that definitely is the case. Oh. Oh. Oh, dear. The fuck is going... Well, those are definitely Bane traps on the walls, and they've been breaking them. Okay, there's no way in hell we're going to be able to finish this entirely. The air shimmers with heat, a border of flickering arcane fire marking an impassable barrier that prevents access to the old walls beyond. How the fuck did she get past that, then? Unless Wagstaff has actually been teaching her some magic to be able to bypass it, that is possible. Probably a keystone. Ah, you're right. I keep forgetting about those. Oh, we still have to go back to Lethian's Crossing and finish up that area too, because we got more keystones from the other old walls. Fuck! I traced her path, but it was blocked by a magical flaming barrier of some sort. I heard Wagstaff is teaching her magic, but no way she could... Not by herself. Isley cups her chin pensively. Fire makes me think blood chanters. Maybe she liberated something from a chorus rival? Or she figured out a way to control the old wall traps, but to my knowledge, those traps don't use fire, but some kind of arcane knowledge. If you're short on ideas, you could speak with the prisoner, Telesofia. He sees everything from her perch, and most everyone talks to her at some point during the day, so maybe she's seen something or heard something that could point you in the right direction. Probably do that, and then we'll have to get off for the day, unfortunately. Much fun as I'm having doing all these conversations, and I actually am. I'm not complaining about all the dialogue, I know it doesn't make necessarily for the most entertaining of watching. I'm looking for information you may have, Sophia. She glances downward and contemplates quietly before speaking up. Information is the one thing I can offer while trapped here. I'm sure you're looking for something important, sir. I'm looking to do something important. If you can help me right this injustice, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Any reason why you make her so sleepy? She's one of the sleepless, Tenwin. She should be... Yeah, she's lost her ability to sleep. She should be sounding exhausted most times. She's one of the only ones that's still here because hers was one of the last people that the Beast Woman pack leader touched. I'm listening. You might have noticed an Earthshaker wandering about this place. Argaean. He betrayed my unit the same way Cairn turned on us. The coward surrendered the moment the blades were drawn. Now he spends his days cavorting with Jaspos, lost in mystic foreplay with that fool who ought to be forging proper war iron, not polishing rocks. Well, to be fair, he's a forge master who's a master of rocks, so it's not like you'd really want him to be the one making you the iron weapons. He's probably not as good at that. Cairn's rogue disciples were to be destroyed, yet I've no way to satisfy that order, short of strangling him with my legs. I mean, he might enjoy that, Sophia, so you might want to be careful with doing that. I'm asking you to help. Give him the justice he deserves, then I'll tell you whatever you want to know. How do I know you actually have what I'm seeking? I may as well be an ornament atop this column. People ignore me and whisper their secrets right under my nose. Share them with me when they're missing a friendly ear. You'd be surprised how normal my presence here is considered. I know everything going on down here, whether I want to or not. I'll think about it. I've got all the time and the tears, Fatebinder. Think about it as long as you want. Her lips curled upward to form a crooked smile. You've been sentenced to death by thigh crushing. Thank you, Fatebinder. Maybe we can go talk to Argaean. No, we can't. So we're going to have to make a choice on this. Oh, boy. Well, we will make that choice on Sunday when we have our long stream. Because for right now, I need to save and get ready to go to work. Gotta go earn that paper. Oh, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for tuning in. Really glad to see you here, Jello. Really glad to see, oh, was it Darkstar? Was here? No, Diamond. Diamond was the one who was here. Right, Diamond. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for being here. Hope you all had a glorious stream. Let's go see if we can find somebody to raid real fast. Also, did I save? I don't remember. Yes, I did. Good. All right, let's go see if we can find somebody to raid real fast. Let me just pull this up. Hey, Celine Whitetail. She was doing Rogue Trader when we were earlier. A couple of months ago. We're going to go ahead and raid into her real fast. I don't know if she's going to be on much longer because I think she's on her 6th hour. But we're going to go ahead and raid into her. So I'll see if she's still playing. Apparently she was playing Tyranny earlier. She was playing Rogue Trader as well a few months ago when we last raided into her. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So I hope you all have a great day, a glorious day, and I will see you all on Sunday when we do our long form playthrough. Hope you all have a great weekend if I don't, though. See you all then.